Debbie does Dallas.
Debbie does. One day that will be on here. But Captain Ron here.
Welcome to America's hottest talk line. Guys, hot ladies are waiting to talk to you.
Vinegar syndrome. Guys.
It's on Netflix if you want to watch it.
There's a new one, and that's Air Force One.
Get off my plane. I think Sony paid you a bunch of money to talk about all their steelbooks tonight.
For the stuff, but you know,
are we seriously going to have to talk about the screen movies again?
If you only see one movie this year, it should be Frankenhooker, Bill Murray, Ghostbusters, Caddyshack, Zombieland.
This is a movie I didn't think I'd like as much as I did, and I know it was like really popular because it like won some Oscars and whatever, but
Debbie does Dallas.
For actually showing something is they actually produced crew jackets. Like the movie never went into production, but it's got a Delta Force 2 emotional.
Hey, that works either way.
That's cool.
Is anyone even there still? I don't even know.
Yeah, we're just listening to
okay.
I was like, no one's saying it. Like,
really
into the story.
Bye, runner.
You too, buddy.
And he's out just like that. Mike dropped it, and he's gone. Hello, fellow followers, and welcome back to the Physical Media Show here on FanZcene Vids. We're back to our regularly scheduled program this week after a pretty cool last week episode, so that was a good time. But how you guys doing with me tonight? As always, it's Tom Connors and Rookie, the new runner. How you guys doing this evening?
Doing good, man. Doing pretty good.
Apparently, he's from New York now.
Doing good. I got the New York accent at the moment, all right? You got it? I was watching a movie and they had a New York accent, all right?
You do? You're not from New York.
I can't do.
You're culturally appropriating.
I can only do impressions for like 10
better.
seconds, and then they just go awful. So
You can't do good impressions?
well, I can't do them for more than like 10 seconds because then my voice goes back to normal. It's like I'd have to say a word or something to get them back into it. It was Jay
How
Leno.
about
so
a
it was
word like this? Can you keep going for more than a few words?
potential?
Roll out.
that was Optimus. Thought you were like talking into it.
It's just like,
Seriously?
that was Optimus. Like, oh my god, how did you not know that was Optimus Prime?
Come on, man.
I said it was. Just took me a second.
Seriously? I
Yeah, he's
mean,
from those
you
Robo
like
movies.
Corn
huh?
Pop, that other guy. Zibba, 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 dibba.
He's from the movies that have those giant Shia
You
LaBeoufs.
recognize my voice.
I have no idea.
Are you kidding me right now? Come on, man. It's Brandon.
Who the fuck?
It's the guy.
Oh no!
It's
I
the man
hardly.
dude.
I never listened to.
They're spicy, they're tasty, they're tiny.
I hardly listened to him. Yeah,
I
I
swear.
was thinking of an actor, but I was like, nope.
I swear,
quite.
Runner. I keep wanting to call you Runner.
That actually
That-
just changed my
if you
voice.
call me Runner, I'll just respond anyway. I mean, that's just
Yeah, he's going to
you
just
know,
respond.
it's all good.
What about this voice? Do you know who this voice is?
Sylvester Stallone.
Well, that's obviously.
God. You're
Yeah, I
great.
was gonna say, totally. Still, now it's Arnold, of course. He's the
Yeah.
he's the one that's ingrained in my skull as a kid, even.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not a tumor.
What
In the
if
early
it
years
is?
of the internet, he was like fun to get some type of voice clips for people. Like, oh wow, you his lines, him. Yes.
All right. Well, let's say hi to everybody in the chat real quick, and we'll get this party started. So up first, we have the real Sean Kreml. Evening to you. We have VHS Mikey, my dude. Hello, fam. Hello to you, VHS Mikey. Great guy. We have Otto Whack sending us some love. And then we have Heather Preston. Hi, Heather Preston. How are you? And then we have Tim Hayes. What's up, Tim Hayes? Hello to you. We have Duck Nation. James, I love DNR Cameron. Yes, I seen that. I seen that picture of what's her name? Jamie Lee Curtis from True Lies. She looks AI. She looks fake. It's oh my
I
god.
hope
Do they have a
that's
new
just-
cover or something?
No. This is the actual movie. It's out on digital in 4K.
Yeah.
I hope it's
they
just
fuck
from
up the
compression
picture or
and other
something?
problems, but yeah,
That's what I'm hoping.
think
But she looked like somebody generated an AI picture of her, and I
Oh,
was like,
no.
"Oh, that looks horrible." But we'll just see. What's up, Deleted Scene? Salute to you. And we got Doug 1985, Virginia Loves Horror. Hey. We have Christopher Burkle. All right. And then we have Hat Hole Home Video. Let's go, boys. Oh, another great channel. Love that guy. Him and VHS Mikey did some amazing videos. I love their videos. And then we have Ace Hanlon. Let's see the goods. Don't worry. We'll show them all. We'll show them all inches of them. I don't know where I was going with that. Good evening to you, Tyrell72. How are you? I don't know, Tom. It's been a long day.
I only got 2 inches of tear, so
I don't measure, so
I'm just guessing.
I'm just guessing too. Yeah. We got Joey, what's up, IO? And we have the Alex Zorba, Hell Physical Media, Cool Gamer, what's up with you? And Brian Barth, hell to you as well. Thank you all for hanging out with us here tonight on the Physical Media Show and chatting at home. Let's see, what do we want to talk about before we get into the goods? What's good for news? I know we got The Shootist is coming to Blu-ray from Arrow in March.
I think they were supposed to be dropping their announcements today. Did they get them all out there yet, or?
I think Arrow usually does theirs on Fridays, and sometimes these guys scoop them up a little bit.
This one came out this morning from Howard S. Berger. The Shootist is going to be coming out on standard Blu-ray.
Yes.
Other one, I guess there hasn't been any more announcements other than that on the Arrow side of things, but gosh, what has there been on everything else? I haven't been keeping up so much lately.
Yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot announced. I did see a Hideo, from Arrow, Hideo.
I mean, we got
the Talker's Dark Water.
I was gonna say we got the Crow confirmed, basically, but
Yeah.
FanZcene received his 4K of Monster Squad the day after the interview.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Beverly Hills Cop and Footloose also got confirmed, and Footloose
that's right.
is getting
Yes,
a steelbook.
Yes.
Let's see here. What? Oh, 7. That's coming to the UK anyway. I pre-ordered the what's in the box.
It's in the box.
What's in the box?
Gwyneth Paltrow's candle.
Yeah.
Somebody wants us to talk about Scream?
No, it's
and then Dragonheart's getting a Walmart exclusive. I've noticed Walmart's getting a bunch of exclusive steelbooks coming up, so I think we have our answer to where that's all going. And I'm kind of mad because I got just the standard 4K release of that. I wish I had just waited for the steelbook. It's not a bad looking steelbook. That was pretty much the. I mean, did we get Darkman and Tenacious D and all that stuff last week?
I think we talked about
that was last week.
Tenacious, at least.
Yeah, I think we mentioned Darkman
as well. And that's getting a steelbook as well. And I think that is that the Walmart. Is that one still a Best Buy exclusive? I can't remember now.
I know Walmart's got a lot of the steelbooks now. I've seen them there where I go.
Oh no, actually the steelbook for Darkman I think is on the Shout Factory website. That's right, because I pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
And then we had Willy's Wonderland as well, but I think we already mentioned that.
Willy's
Wonderland. So I think we're pretty much up to date.
How much longer is Best Buy going to sell their movies for? Because
up till through February.
Till February? Okay.
February, yep. And then they're done.
Damn.
I seen some other store also announce they're not doing it anymore. Hi-Fi something or other.
Cowards.
Which is really funny. It's crazy because I just read an article and did a video about it. Is where over in the UK, one of their biggest stores called HMV just reopened their main store, which is a physical media store. They just reopened it and restocked it and everything. So it's like, what's going on? Why are they getting new stores with physical media and all of our stores are getting rid of it? It's weird.
Well, I like what you said in one of your videos. I forget which one. I was looking at a couple of them, and you said a lot of movies were saved thanks to after their theater run, people were able to buy them or rent them on DVDs and on discs and stuff afterward. And it's like nowadays, they just go right on to streaming after, and it's like, well, there's not really any big enough uptick afterward because they're there's not even really a secondary market after, really. I mean, other than the super collectors or something, or the few people that buy discs nowadays. But it's like, I mean, I say you know what I mean, compared to when they pushed it more is what I was.
They've literally cut themselves off by the foot themselves, because they were making money theater to the the licensing out, like first time on cable, and then the VHS or DVD Blu-ray would come out. Now it's just straight to digital, straight to streaming, and they're not making any of that money in between that they used to make. So
that's insane. And they think they're making, do they think they're cutting their, like, do they think they're making more with the streaming services by
because they're losing money on streaming?
Like,
but now
that doesn't make any sense either when you think about it. I mean, I thought it was almost unbelievable when Netflix was first around. It was like, I can just do a subscription for like $8 and like just watch whatever's on there. Of course, what was on there at the time was a whole bunch of independent films, which was fun to me because I was able to discover a whole bunch of films at the time. But then, at some point, it of course declined in value as it went, and increased twice the price it initially was and stuff.
Yeah, you have a problem, and that is Andre, my boss, basically summed it up best. All these streaming services, the streaming war we're in the middle of, the studios should have treated Hulu and Netflix basically like a format. Because at this point now, what we have is a format war all over again, and everybody has their own proprietary format. And in the process of this, they've flipped, physical media on its head. I won't say physical media is dead, obviously. No. But we people come to us all the time. One of the biggest questions, the rising questions I'm getting right now, is where do I go to get it? And I'm sure you get that too a lot, Greg, because that's the number one question now, especially now that Abyss and Aliens and True Lies are finally coming out. But and they did that. And when they're charging, 10, 15, $20 for a streaming service, that's still the same price or less than what they would get out of one DVD or Blu-ray or 4K. So when you're getting an entire library at your fingertips for what the studios would, usually not even make on one Blu-ray, it doesn't make fiscal sense. And then the other side of it is, like Greg was saying, the network and cable showings of these movies used to be huge. If anything, Netflix should have replaced HBO. Is what it should have been, instead of, because all the other services are still there and it's all set up for them to make money. Because you're 100% right. Matt Damon and others have come out and flat out said this, that if it wasn't for the day of DVD, we would have never made a lot of the movies we did, because the studios were taking more chances because they knew if it didn't make all its money back at the box office, it would on disc. Well, that's not the case anymore. And that's because it's their own fault, because they have the system set up to where they have bypassed their most lucrative sides of the business. In some cases, like for instance, in the days of VHS, when it was at its peak, Lion King made just as much on video than it did in theaters. So de facto, Disney got to keep more of that money, if you think about it. And they only got to keep 50% of the theatrical release, right? So
and it's Lion King is still the number one selling VHS tape of all time. It made
and that was a big hit, right? So imagine, what some of these smaller films could make when, just because it didn't make its money at the box office, so that's okay. It only cost $8 to $10 million to make. They only got to sell a few, couple 100,000 or better copies on disc. In fact, some of them would sell even bigger than that. We've got more recent years where you're lucky if movies like the Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut, only brought in $19 million on disc. The original Joss Whedon version brought in more like 40.
It did too well.
Not to piss on the Snyder fans, but I mean, that's where we're at right now. I mean, it's a completely eroded market. DVD is still 50% of the market. And I mean, when HBO, when they would pay a lot of money. Showtime would pay a lot of money for these movies, sight unseen. And then when the video would come out, you had, back in the VHS days, they recouped money on the video sales because, the rental price was $80 a tape. But then they were able to replace that when they were able to make DVDs, because DVDs were so much cheaper, and they were able to sell through right away. And you had a lot of customers that were buying a lot of movies at that point. And let's face it, Hollywood was actually making some decent movies still. And we get these really nice box sets of all the classics too.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot more factors now that I'm noticing as well. Like when you would go to a movie store, when you go to a video store, Blockbuster or something, to browse for something, that's very different than when you're able to do it and scroll around on your home thing, because there's like a detachment level. Plus, I feel like it's almost kind of like when you go out, there's an intention when you go out to do something. So you're going to really try to find something that you want to bring home and watch, compared to when you're streaming it. Everything's just kind of there, or not even everything, but you're hoping to find something, but there's just a level of detachment that's there it's compared to that. And
you're
also,
at a point where good. Oh, go ahead, finish.
This was just ironic because I don't know if it was in your video today, FanZcene, or yesterday, but one of yours you said that the Roku boxes and stuff are basically like a cable box. And today I just opened mine up, and there was a live TV like app on the thing that's never been there before. It's like on the top spot where I had Tubi or something, and it was there, and I was like, huh, what's this? And yeah, it's like I guess it's sort of like a cable connection to just some channels. And I was kind of browsing through them, and then I was kind of like, like on Twitter lately, I've been noticing a lot of GIFs where people like post an action scene of this or that, and that's getting me seeing those, like a clip has made me want to check them out. And so back in the day when you'd be surfing channels, that was how I'd get interested in films that I would have never heard of before. Sometimes was like I'd just come into the middle of a show, into the middle of a scene that's happening, and be into it. But like when you stream or you're doing stuff, you have to like commit to watching enough of it to get anywhere, or from the beginning. But like when you would do TV, you could just come into it at whatever point. And then you might go, what was this called? I want to see the whole thing later and like keep track of it, or want to seek out the movie. And you don't have that with streaming anymore. And I was just kind of realizing that. It's been so long.
And actually, like Paramount and Peacock, you can watch the live network feed, and on Paramount you can even get some of the cable channels and stuff. But yeah, no, I that's the one main thing I miss about cable. I don't really miss cable, but that's one thing I do miss. But I mean, that's the thing, is they have eliminated another revenue stream with the networks. When they would do the network premieres, that was even bigger than probably being on some other things. So they made a lot of money on those, and those are worthless now. Worthless. Because TV has died. And going back to Dan Blackwright's comment on the screen about the market, which is true. Netflix had already come in and kind of done that job for them and killed Blockbuster. But what the studios did was take advantage of the situation, because the studios have never liked video, even though they had to admit that it made them a lot of money. The reason they didn't like it is because it gave you the power in your hands to do with the film as you will. Right. Same. They just never been a big fan of physical media. They want you on streaming. They want you to do the digital stuff. And just like with the PlayStation Network, people are learning, guess what? You don't own this shit.
No, you don't. It's just like we've talked when we brought up Fright Night with what's his name, the McDowell. What's his name? Roddy McDowell. How much trouble he got in for what he was doing with, the film reels. Wasn't it film reels where they didn't like it?
They were making video of them, and doing dubbing and making copies for people. And it's because at that time there wasn't a video market.
Yeah,
because the studios were very tight with the rights to films. Yeah,
it's like you said. Yes, Brian Bart. They want to go back for the days of VHS, because they want control of it all. They don't want any other form for you guys to get it, but they're their way. I don't know what it is, or what it's like. I feel like they it's like, even though we're licensing it, making them on VHS and using it to their advantage, it's just something like they never felt like they had control over or something. I don't know. It's just.
Yeah, I think you're right. They want to control the way that you do certain things. I mean, I think that's tied hand in hand with the gaming thing, like you just said. Just thinking about it, I'm like, you know what? You're right. Like, if they have it where you can only get it digitally, you can't even really share it at all. Like,
nope.
And I was just realizing, like, the few times I've shared,
and they can alter it anytime they want to, or take it away.
Well, yeah, or with games, there's automatic updates that you can't undo or like choose to deny. It always happens, and it's like, well, that used to never be a thing. And I don't know. I don't know if this stuff has always been a problem, but I'm noticing more of it now too. And I'm
oh no, it's becoming more rampant, because honestly, I'm the type of person where 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even if you'd have told me I had to pay for this subscription and be online and do all this other shit to play a fucking video game, I'd told you to go to hell.
Yeah. Seriously.
I'd have been like, I ain't doing that shit. Fuck that. That sounds like a ripoff to me. Right. But here we are. Here we are in that exact state. And they're in the studios and they're looking at the gaming industry going, we want that.
Yep. Because gaming did it first. Yeah.
And they think it's going to be very lucrative. And for a certain portion of things, it may have been. It was when they only had Netflix and Hulu, because that's where everybody was going. You had everybody paying Netflix and Hulu for those services. Netflix and Hulu had the money to pay out barely. Like the story's common word that Netflix was always borrowing from Peter to marry, to pay Paul with. But they were always just barely making their payments on time or whatever, or just past due, and they would still pay though. And the studio saw these checks and they're like, well, fuck, we want some of what they're paying us this much. We should be able to do this on our own. Not thinking, right? They're like a typical kid who just thinks, well, I can make a burger stand, like, why can't I?
They just all dilute the entire
They weren't
industry,
realizing that, if you pull all your content from Netflix and make your own streaming service, you're going to wonder, why didn't they all come into ours? It's because you've done
the overhead and everything else. Yeah.
You've done all this. But Christopher Burkle, real quick, and we do have a super chat I want to get to after this. He wants to know about a 4K Blu-ray player. Does everyone have? He's trying to decide to buy one.
I would go with either a Sony. There's not a lot of choices out there anymore, Christopher. That's the sad part.
That's the problem.
Your best bet, depending on if price is not an option, you can get some fancier stuff. But if you're on somewhat of a budget, and most people are, honestly, if you have an Xbox One, the one version of it that's already plays 4K Blu-rays, you have one of the best players already. Honestly, otherwise I'd go with like a Sony. They got a great one at Walmart right now that's a decent price one. Otherwise, I've heard LG and Panasonic are pretty decent too.
Yeah, the Panasonic one is really good.
Yeah, those are the only few companies that are really producing them anymore, and they're all within that same price range, 170, somewhere in that range. But yeah, no, most of them on the market right now. The main thing I would worry about with like Panasonic, because I think up until recently, they had not had Dolby Vision on their player. So if that's something you have on your TV and you actually want, you might want to keep that in mind. But I think they do have it now, or you just want to make sure it's on that player that you're buying. Otherwise, I've had pretty good luck with my Sony one. And that one looks good, and it upconverts most things too as well. And for the most part, does a pretty good job. Not great, but for the most part, good job.
Yeah.
So.
And real quick before we get to the super chat, no, I don't really think the studios are realizing they need DVDs more than, because if they did, that we would be getting a bunch from these studios, but I don't think personally, no.
It's like, look, I'm gonna be real. We all know, and I think Bill Hunt said this, and others have too. So I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said already. We probably got anywhere from at best a decade to 20 years left in physical media, at best. At some point, it's just going to go away. They're going to stop making it. There may be some resurgence at some point. I would never say never, because records have been around for well over 100 years.
Records are the comparison, essentially.
But the thing is with records is I don't think it is so much about the sound, because I've had the debates all day long, and usually the only people I get into the sound debate with is the people that are like really audiophiles and think most people just like to have the album, right? Yeah. It's because we have a whole generation that grew up on MP3s. They wouldn't even really know what to do with a CD if you handed them one.
Right.
I mean, they might, but I mean, I'm being a little facetious, but at the end of the day, the whole point is, they never saw records really on a daily basis. And so they kind of feel like they've discovered something on their own. Plus it's something that they have in their hand to look at while you're experiencing the album. And it's way different than listening to a song on your little, on your phone or on whatever the i thing was back in the day.
Yeah. The
iPod. Yeah. I was going to say iPad, but that's not it. It's the other thing.
Yeah, there's like more value to it. There's more attention to it.
It is.
It's
exactly.
almost part of the display of your house.
Plus, you have something to break your weed up on.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, let's be real. That's what all record albums were. Look, go buy some vintage record. Go to a vintage record store. There's a reason why it smells like weed and incense.
Yeah, I got an Alice Cooper record, an original Alex Cooper record, and
probably smells very weedy.
I can confirm. It's got
most Pink Floyd. I'm willing to bet 90% of all used Pink Floyd albums smell like weed.
Yeah. All right, let's get
that's Acapulco Gold. Anyway, yes, we need to move on. I'm sorry for getting on that long tangent.
No, that's fine. That's what we're the physical media show. That was a great discussion.
It was kind of a big week for physical media in that respect, because you also had Christopher Nolan come out and talk about it as well, and recently, and that's why I went and bought Oppenheimer, and I'm glad I did. So.
Okay. I still need to get that. I really do, because my dad's been wanting to see it, and I'm like,
it's good. It's a lot better than I thought it would be.
I know my dad wants to see it. My nephew saw it in the theaters and said it was one of his favorite movies. So I got to get to it. But we do have a $4.99 super chat from Doug 1985, Virginia Loves Horror. He says, finally saw Die Hard in the theater last week or last night with Dolby Cinema. I was 3 when it first came out. Felt good watching it. That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're the second person I've heard that said they saw Die Hard in theaters this week. So that's cool. That's cool.
Come out to the coast. We'll get together. We'll have a few laughs.
And I absolutely love Die Hard. It's one. And speaking of Christmas Die Hard or action stuff, I might have a little something with that tonight. Not Die Hard.
Of course, this is emergency. What do you think I am? Ordering a pizza?
Oh, I love Die Hard, man. I have not watched that yet this year, so I got to get to
the party, pal.
So good.
Oh, no bullets.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Is that what it was? I think Hans Gruber.
I was always partial to Roy Rogers myself.
Yeah.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Oh, it ain't Christmas, so I see Hans Gruber drop from Nakatomi Plaza. So
yeah, I love that. If you start watching it, I think it's at 10, like 10:53. If you start watching it or something like that, 10:58 maybe it is.
Oh, and like December 30th.
Or 9:50. I'm sorry. Yeah. At whatever time it is, 2 hours and some minutes. It's out there online. You can punch it in. And in the moment that Hans falls from the tower is midnight for Christmas.
Yeah,
kind of like awesome. The ball dropping for New Year's.
Yeah. I love how people do that, because like also you can do like after that you can do like Lord of the Rings, and you time it just right to the point where he says so it begins right on New Year's. Yes, you can do that. So it begins. But yeah, that's awesome. I would die to see Die Hard in theaters again. It's just not around here where I'm at. But
I love the trailers for that.
I know, they're awesome.
It's just like, it will blow you through the back of the theater.
I love those old trailers with the movie guy voice. I miss those.
With the music.
Yeah. We need, that's one of the things we need back. I'm tired of the like music themed trailers, with the sound effects that we hear all the time, the way that they're edited with trailers these days. I want the old guys trying to sell us on the movie by going, this guy, there's action, there's a girl, you will see it. See the movie. Good job. Go. Have a nice day.
I miss that. I miss
that.
In a world where worlds don't exist.
Yeah, I miss those.
A man is alone, but he finds somebody else. So he really isn't alone.
That had to take a lot of work away from the Winnie the Pooh guy, because he did a lot of those too. And what's his name? But I think the one guy passed away that originally.
Most of them have. Yeah, you've got but you got trailer voice guy out there, and then you got Jim Cummings, who used to do a lot of them.
Yeah.
That's who I can mimic pretty well.
Yeah, that's what
Darkwing Duck.
That's who you remind me of when you do it.
Dangerous. Yeah. I love Percy though. He always had the best voice because he did the Jaws ones. Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water.
Yeah.
He had that voice.
I love that voice too. Yeah. I miss those. Hollywood, take notes. Go back to,
made a machine with teeth and called it.
Yeah.
Train the new generation to like older things, please.
Yeah. We don't have to like go back, but it's okay to bring certain things back.
Like bringing some of the style, like having some of the styles, what I mean.
No, but you're right. Like trailers have gotten so stale. Like you don't even have to watch them. Yeah. Right? You can almost just figure out. It's like, it's going to start with, I say something really quiet,
Yep.
Anyone home? Yeah.
And then end with
oh my
joke.
God, we fucked up. That
is if they don't spoil the movie during the trailer. Like, I hate
this
so many trailers spoil the movie of like the beats of the events. I'm like, stop it!
Quip.
Yeah.
Yes.
This
all
film
right.
is not yet rated.
Not yet rated. Coming soon.
I miss Trailer Voice Guy.
Yeah, I do. Then it will be on digital 1 week later.
Yeah. See it before it hits digital.
Yeah. I do miss Trailer Guy voice. I do miss that.
Tomorrow. See the trailer for the teaser for the trailer.
Yeah, I hate those. It's like, here's a 1 second clip of a teaser for the trailer. And then when you go to watch the trailer, they have the teaser in front of the teaser. It's like, stop.
I'll give Netflix credit.
Go ahead.
Good.
I was just saying, I'll give Netflix credit. At least they just dropped the teaser poster today for Beverly Hills Cop 4. We know the trailer's coming tomorrow. No teaser trailer for the trailer for once. I'm like,
yeah.
Thank God.
That's what to say.
Just got a teaser poster.
I was gonna say posters could almost sell a movie back in the day, right? Like, wow, look at what's on that. Who's there? What is that? You know, just as part of the sell was the cover.
Not the greatest poster, but
yeah,
I'm looking forward to the trailer because I know somebody who saw the movie, so I think I'll be able to deduce from the trailer whether or not I'm gonna like the tone. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're like roughly 12, not even 12 hours, I think, away from the trailer. 10 hours, I think.
Yep. So, well, hopefully it looks good. I mean, like you said, I've never really heard much about it, so we'll see how it plays out.
I know somebody who saw it. It's got some problems. They said it wasn't as bad as they thought it would be. There's cameos pretty much from everybody from the original movie. The worst parts is that basically Eddie's kind of an estranged father in it.
Oh, of course.
Typical bullshit, yeah.
Typical
and
Hollywood.
I believe it was insinuated, or I don't know if it's insinuated or it's directly in the movie that I think her mother would be the chick from part 3. And she's married to Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who's a cop. But I don't know if she's a cop or not. I don't think she is. I think she's like a lawyer or something like that. But he said where the movie falls flat is when she's trying to do Axel Foley bits.
Ooh.
But he has some pretty but he said Axel has some pretty funny moments though, and Surge, I guess, steals the show as usual. So
as usual. Okay.
Well,
we'll see. Savage. All right. Well,
you say Surge, it sounds like a detergent.
Oh, I love it. Classic. So who wants to go first tonight? Who wants to share the first pick?
Let's make the rookie go first.
All right, let's go, Rook. What do you got for us?
All right. So on Twitter, I've been seeing a lot of suggestions, like I said before, like some GIFs of movies that I'm like, that kind of looks interesting. What's that movie? Because they don't usually put the title with it. So, but I did get some recommendations from people. Somebody in the chat here has helped with that a little bit. Desperado is one of them right here. Quentin Tarantino directing. Antonio.
You mean
Robert
Mexican Quentin Tarantino? Rewind.
What?
Robert Rodriguez directed.
Oh, Robert Rodriguez. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Somebody said Tarantino, or I thought I saw the name Tarantino on here.
He's
in it.
Oh, right. He's the guy who gets shot. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay. But
that's all
okay. Okay,
it's all
that
good.
makes more sense.
Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino are very similar in their
that
styles.
makes more sense to me because, like, the film I'd say is fun, but not really good. But it's really cool with it. Like, you know, starts.
Now, have you seen El Mariachi though?
No.
Okay, that's the first one.
I didn't know.
Well, this is kind of like how Evil Dead 2 is to Evil Dead 1. Desperado is to El Mariachi.
Yeah,
it's really kind of a remake of the original.
It is.
It also works as a sequel. It's kind of funky like that.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, I mean, it's a very fun movie. It's very crazy with its ideas. It's like just Steve Buscemi comes in to a bar, you know, white guy into a Mexican bar, very out of place with his mannerisms and everything. The beer tastes like piss is like the most said line in the movie, I think. And he's just like telling a story about a guy who comes in and kills a bunch of people and whatnot. He's got a guitar case. And so he kind of, you know, everybody's taking interest. It's that I call him the uncle because I don't know the actual actor's name. You know, the Spy Kids uncle guy. He's in like every movie that Danny
Trejo.
No, the bald guy that's the bartender in this. He's like always.
Oh, Cheech Marin.
Are you serious?
He doesn't know Cheech.
I've only seen him in like, you know, he's like, I'm pretty sure he's in From Dusk Till Dawn as well, and like a couple of other things. But I didn't know
Cheech and Chong.
I wasn't of the Cheech and Chong era, but I know of them. Wow. But I didn't recognize him as that because they always see like long-haired dudes. He's always bald and everything that I see him in. So you really blame me for that? Like, come on.
When he's an older man,
and he's never playing anything like similar to that role, as far as I could tell, in anything I've seen him. And he's always in something where he gets shot. So anyway, he's the bartender in it. Show the whole scene where Banderas kills all these people. For some reason, he's got like some buddies also that have guitar case guns. One's a bazooka and one's like, you know, two machine guns, pretty much. Very ridiculous type of film, but it is very fun. Salma Hayek's in it. She's like a librarian in it. Just like a dude selling coke around it. She does have boobs, yes. Indeed.
She shows them.
I gotta send this man some Cheech and Chong albums.
Right, you got to.
See, now everybody's being hung up that I don't know Cheech and Chong stuff, but
oh my god,
it's another thing to add to the list, I guess, guys. Okay, sorry. No, like I enjoyed the film, but I can't say it's like a good film, but it is fun, very fun film. They accidentally kill Danny Trejo, who's supposed to kill Antonio Banderas. And they just get mixed up. So nobody told them what this guy's supposed to look like properly, and they don't know.
The best of the three of them. There's three of them. There's El Mariachi, Desperado, and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. That's the best of the three.
Yeah, I haven't seen those. Yeah. But
So
I mean, I liked it, but I don't think it's a good film. But it's a lot of cool stuff. Very funny though when they are when they just got done having sex or whatever, she's playing the guitar. I like the slow scene. If he sees the silhouettes of the guys coming around the building, he's got his guns up. She's got her eyes closed as she's singing or whatever. And he's just like almost pointing at her face, like, oh shit, where's the guys coming in? You know, and then shoves her down and then starts the shootout and stuff. They got some a lot of fun scenes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I brought this one on not too long ago. I thought you got Tom on the Cheech and Chong.
There's always something, or I bring some one thing. Everything else.
Up in Smoke is one of the greatest comedies of all time. Oh my god!
Nope. I mean, I saw that '70s show back in the day, but that was like
that's Chong.
As close as I can get to it. As close as I can get to what you're.
Oh, we know him and Don Johnson were smoking up. Let's be
real. Yeah. Oh, did you see? Were you a fan of Nash Bridges?
I have not. Well, I know what it is, but I've never actually. I've seen like an episode or two.
Yeah, I liked the Nash Bridges show, and they did the movie, the Nash Bridges movie. Oh my god, that sucked. Talk about modern audience.
Usually that happens, man. There's not too many of those like movies after the fact that end up turning out very good.
Yeah,
especially reunion movies and such.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Miami Vice is a superior Don Johnson show, but I always liked, Nash Bridges. It was a good show. It was fun. Him and Peach. Yeah, it was all right. It was good. It's something I could watch. I was kind of excited for the movie, and the movie. Oh my god. Don't ever watch the movie. It's horrible.
Yeah. I haven't done on it.
Yeah. But anyways,
I love you, buddy, but
that's why he's
Cheech and Chong.
All right, but as far as the film itself was all right, I guess, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. I like the movie. It's my favorite of the three. Johnny Depp's
in the third get in. Right. Hey, you're a dude. That's false advertising, man.
No.
Fuck me, Alex. Fuck me, Alex. Hey, man, I didn't even know your name was Alex, man.
I think that beaners are going.
Paul wants me to be strapped to a chair from Clockwork Orange style to force me to watch all these classics. I'm making progress. This was just a random Twitter thing that I saw a GIF of, and then I was like, hey, I kind of like the way that looks. Let me see the whole film. and I saw it. So
that's good. That's
progress.
good.
And I do also have Clockwork Orange. I just haven't watched it yet. I've heard that you got to kind of be in the right mindset for it. That it's not just a hey, I'm just gonna watch the movie. So it's like I don't know. I guess I don't know when I'll see it really, but I don't want to just go into it and then expect something or like be in a certain mood and then not get it. I've heard people, and maybe people talked it up wrong. I don't know. They've said
I'm more worried about people making it out to be something more graphic in nature than it really is, because I think by today's standards, it's quite tame.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem you have with it. I'm curious what somebody would think of it after seeing a lot of horror movies and modern films would feel, because like when that movie came out, that was pretty violent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the types of crimes that are depicted in it were pretty out there as far as like being shown in movies at that time. But now you can see that in the beginning of most slasher films.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, horror's gone way over more than Clockwork Orange ever did.
Kind of makes me feel like how Psycho and Texas Chainsaw Massacre may not live up to the hype to some people when they're haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Like Texas Chainsaw 2 is like, yeah, when we were younger, that was intense as fuck.
Right.
But by today's standards, that's like your typical Saw / Hostel / insert your gore porn here.
Well, you know what? Maybe I'll watch Clockwork Orange for next week then, because I like how you're kind of saying it then, because maybe it is the amount of people that have told me about it has maybe.
How many Kubrick films have you seen?
Okay, because now I have to look up.
He's going to have to say none.
I don't know.
Kubrick is. He doesn't
know. Like Dr. Strangelove.
I know who he is, but I don't remember movies just by directors necessarily. I remember some, but I can't.
He's more of an auteur.
I don't know his whole thing here. He's been around for a while, right? So
because I'm curious how people have.
I've seen Full Metal Jacket.
Okay.
I've seen.
Well, that's more intense than this, really. At the end.
I want to see Spartacus. I've seen like the show, which I thought was cool, but I do want to see the old one too. How that was. Let me see here. Wait, why is the list so short? What?
Well, how did people try to prepare you for it? I'm curious how that. What do you mean by that?
Well, I'm not prepared, but I mean, like I've just seen, and I remember earlier on YouTube or something, there'd be people. They're like, if you're going to watch this film, make sure you're in the right mindset because it's so traumatic or something. Now, even the people filming it had issues and were like, shocked by the mood and the tone and blah blah blah. And so, but like, I haven't actually thought about it until just right now.
They're feeding you the wrong kind of way of looking at it, especially for somebody like you. You need to go into it with the mindset that this guy, look at it from the filmmaking side of it, the auteur kind of, tour de force side of it more so than the violent, because then you're going to come out of it disappointed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Exactly that. Yeah. Because people have built this movie up as this ultraviolet, and I use that term punnily, and you'll see why.
Like referring to like the kind of the movie Ultraviolet?
No, violent. Sorry.
Oh, violent. Sorry, I said ultraviolet.
Because in the movie they go, we're up for a bit of the ultraviolence, they say in the movie. So I said people itself have also kind of, even movies like The Warriors are probably more violent than this.
I got you. Okay. Well, now I feel okay. I'll check. I'll make.
It's not. Yeah, it has some graping in it. Let's say so that part might be the most disturbing to some.
That is.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned that, that stuff is things that disturb other people. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know what it would take to disturb me, really, honestly.
Because I know people who will not watch movies if there's grape scenes in it, and I understand why.
Like the Quiet Place, when she steps on a nail, like on her bare foot, that gave me the heebie-jeebies. But that's like, oof, that would hurt. Huh?
The Quiet Place?
Well, no, I'm just pointing out how like that, like, that's like, that would suck, and that's that's all. So anyway,
the other thing is that the movie just got a reputation because it was on the video nasty list. And once you see half the movies that were on the video nasty list, you learn that the UK were just a bunch of purse clutching little.
Right. I mean, like even Monster Squad, like we talked about last week, kids over 15 couldn't see, under 15 couldn't see it. And that's not on a video nasty, but that's how prudish they were, you know.
That's true.
I'd rather.
Well, they had the opposite problem we had here. Like we were too prude and plural clutching in that period about sex. And that's what got us kind of where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were kind of a little too pearl clutchy about violence. And that's kind of probably what's helped get them where they're at right now. So yeah, it's kind of one of those, you know, you got to find a fine balance in between, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Doug thinks that I'd like Black Christmas 2019.
No.
Watch the original, man.
Oh, Black Christmas 2019 is one
There's
of the
only
worst
one
movies. Exactly. Yes. Watch the original. That was predates
from the
Halloween.
Director of A Christmas Story, actually, and Porky's.
A group of female students is stalked by a stranger during their Christmas break.
That's pretty much the precursor to like Halloween and stuff.
It would say it's probably what would you say? It's probably the third slasher movie because I know Peeping Tom's the first. Then we got Psycho that solidified it, and then
probably, but it's the one that always gets. Yeah, it's the one that always gets overlooked because it kind of started the whole Halloween type thing.
Yeah, it inspired John Carpenter's Halloween.
But Halloween was the one that just got the, you know, it's
much like Tom inspired Psycho and then Psycho.
Yes. Yeah, kind of like that, or like, you know, how Deadpool is kind of a parody of Deadshot, but nobody really remembers Deadshot compared to Deadpool now, right? Like
Yeah,
it's just the way it works out sometimes.
That's how it works. Yeah.
Sometimes people remember the second one that came along because they knew how to perfect it. Sometimes a little because, you know, they saw something like, oh, people like that. Well, I can make it better, and then they did.
Yeah. And back in the day, they could. Now they see it and they go, I can make that movie better, and they remake the same fucking movie and make it worse.
You're right, and that's the sad part because that's what I loved about the little it was like a friend. You had a lot of little friendly rivalries and other things. Like you had like Sam Raimi would always put it like Wes Craven and Sam Raimi back and forth with their movies and little things they would do with each other. And you had John Landis with his buddies and his things. And that's what they would do. They would just kind of keep trying to up one another. Spielberg and Lucas were the same way, and Coppola and all those guys, you know, in their little circle. And, you know, they would always try to do something that would outdo the other. And, you know, even James Cameron got into this because he saw what like, you know, Ridley Scott and especially George Lucas was doing, and he's like, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that?
Would you say there's any competition these days?
Not like there used to be. Now the competition's all about victimhood.
Yeah.
Like who like, okay, like now instead of, let's just say, and I'll try to keep this as quick as possible. Let's say you had me and Greg are like a couple of moguls at a studio, right? And we got 3 people in a room pitching ideas to us. You, Rookie, and like a black lady and a trans man. Well, guess what? You're out the fucking door. Don't matter what your idea is. Even if it's the best idea in the room. Because that's the way they think nowadays. They don't want your idea.
Yeah.
See,
they're
that's
afraid.
the problem. Yeah.
They're afraid.
Well, I guess the way that you're...
So the competition isn't having a good idea now. The competition is who was the bigger victim here.
Yes.
Well, then you got to duke it out between the black lady and the trans man.
Yeah, it's like,
go ahead.
No, it's like they say, okay, say I saw The Fly. Say they saw Jeff Goldblum's The Fly. Like, I'm a huge fan of that movie, but I think this is what we need to do with this, and this, and
or they just instantly go with what they want to change to it.
Trans, and we'll make Gina Davis The Fly, whereas and then that'll be like that because they think they can make the movie better, even though they claim to be a fan of.
How about
movie.
Jeff Goldblum turns into Gina Davis?
Exactly, yeah, something like that.
Yes, they would. I see that now, Greg. They would totally. Well, and that's what's weird is see. Even Cronenberg, see, that's the difference between how they used to know how to take a social commentary and slide it in and slip it in under the radar compared to now is they don't know how to do that anymore. No, it's too fucking obvious.
It's right up front.
Because back then you wouldn't have known it at the time watching it, but that movie is an allegory for the AIDS epidemic, just like the other one I was talking about, the Clive Barker one not too long ago.
Yeah. I can't remember, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah. But they've done it. They do it in a way where they tell you an interesting story with characters, and it has that's not the main focus, but it's slipped in there. And if you're astute, you catch it. Nowadays, it's so in your face that it's it's
or you don't even catch it till years later. Exactly.
Yeah, you don't even catch it till years later.
I'm assuming it was more director creator driven in the day, and now it's more studio driven.
Yeah, and then you even had like a great example of that is MASH, right? The TV show.
Yes.
Did you know it was originally a movie?
No.
Okay, well, originally not Greg Altman. That's the Altman brothers. Robert Altman, the director, made that movie, and it takes place during Korea. And he had said it himself, along with many other people. You watch the movie, and you're like, "That's clearly not Korea; it's Vietnam." He's making a Vietnam allegory here, and the studio didn't notice it because they were busy worrying about their other more expensive movies that were going on at the time. So, like, that's how he got away with it. But he knows damn well if the studio had been paying attention to anything he was doing, they would have put a stop to it instantaneously because that movie came out in the middle of Vietnam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were much better at, that's the thing. They were much better. It's okay. I mean, we do complain about having messaging and stuff in our movies overtaking it, but it's okay to slip it in every once in a while, but you have to have the focus on character and story. I mean,
yeah, Star Trek is the best example, right? Because Star Trek did so many episodes that were clearly allegories, but what Star Trek would do is they wouldn't say, well, this person's clearly right and this person's clearly wrong. They would leave up every episode with, well, we'll have to see how this goes, and you make up your own mind.
Yeah, you think about it.
You think about it. We're not going to tell you what to think. We're going to let you think about it. We just presented the evidence to you as is, and that's kind of how the crew of the starship usually had to deal with every problem too, and that was what made it good. Nowadays, you watch Star Trek, and they literally will stop a scene for a character to go, well, my preferred pronouns are actually she, her, or they, them, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, they straight tell you to the face instead of making you think. So that's the problem with today's modern.
It's where there's like 4 or 5 TNG episodes that are allegories for trans and gay people,
and they're really
there's
good.
Like even one episode where the whole story is predicated on this idea that there's this race that they need a third party to reproduce, but the third party doesn't get to have real much of a choice in the whole matter. So the whole story is kind of predicated around this because they have a male and a female in the race, but they need this third party, which is kind of a mix between the two supposedly, but it's more like whatever. Anyway, you should see it's a good episode, but like that's a good way of showing like, okay, there's more than just A and B out there, you know.
And there's not one definitive answer by the end of the episode, I say.
Yeah, exactly. But with that said, we'll get to Tom here in a second because we do have another $4.99 super chat. I do like Desperado, by the way, great pick. But we do have another $4.99 super chat from Doug, 1985, Virginia Loves Horse. He says, Scarface, The Fly, The Blob. The thing is how you do remakes. Exactly. There was just something about the way they did them in the 80s and stuff like that. They
Godzilla -1 is another good example to throw on that heap.
The Oppenheimer sequel.
That's right.
Yes.
No, it is. It's a great remake of the original film in its own way. It does its own thing, but it also, and it's enough of the original film, the same ideas, the same, kind of thing, but they did their own thing.
The Addams Family, sort of. Does that count as sort of one?
That's more like an extension of the show.
Are you talking about the 91 movie and the sequel?
Yeah. I don't know if those
are rare. You could count that as kind of a remake, but it's more of a readaptation because
that was like the Beverly Hillbillies movie, and
the same kind of thing there. But similarly, yes. I mean, that's the problem with some of these things is they already come from something else that already existed before that. So I will sit there and like on certain things, I will hold judgment until I see if it's a remake or a readaptation. Because if it's clearly a remake of something, well, then I'll judge it on, comparing it to whatever it's remaking. Even if it was a book or a play or something like that before. But if it's so on the grounds of like the Beverly Hillbillies movie, that was clearly more of a remake of the TV show, even though it pretty much told the stage play over again, which was the first episode of the show as well. Because I've actually seen the play. We did it in our school. And that actually came out first. And then like with the Addams Family, though, that was actually a comic strip initially. And they also had an animated version as well. And then you had the original black and white show. So by the time they did that movie, that was technically, it's still kind of similar. They were trying to do more of their own thing, though, than that was more of an adaptation, kind of a mix of adapting the original comic strip and the show, but a little bit leaning more into the kind of like with Popeye. I don't know if you've ever seen Popeye with Robin Williams.
Yes.
That was more of an adaptation of the comic strip than it was the Fleischer cartoons, and that's why people were disappointed when it came out. But anybody who knew anything about the comic strip knew that's what they were doing. Kind of the same thing with Addams Family, because Pubert was a character they wouldn't even let them have on the original show.
Really?
Yeah.
That character was in the original comics.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the name and the whole implication of it's a baby going through puberty already.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
In fact, the Beverly Hillbillies wasn't even called the Beverly Hillbillies originally. It was just called the Hillbillies.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
The pilot episode has that name. Yeah.
I would assume that those would almost fall into that category, though. Like they do a continuation or an adaptation or reboot in a way that it doesn't just crap.
Kind of ish. We actually just had this conversation about because The Fugitive had come up. And that's kind of another one that falls in the same category because there was this patch in that same era that was kind of kicked off, I think, by the Addams Family. The kind of its peak with Fugitive, right? Because I just brought that on last week, and we were just talking about it the other day too. And we were just talking about that whole era of those. And we were talking about, I think, a little bit last week too on that. But yeah, there was that whole era where they're like, okay, we're going to take these old TV shows. Mission Impossible came out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Starsky and Hutch came on the other end of the far end.
Yeah, the bad end when it was
the
over.
Bad end. Yeah, Brady Bunch. They did a TV Monsters movie, which was actually pretty fucking good. Most people forgot it existed because it actually had Ed Herman playing Herman Munster, and it was like fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
But
I remember that when I watched that on TV live.
It was more in the vein of the Addams Family movie. Yeah, like they did they did the same kind of updating adaptation of it.
Yeah. But we do have we have a members a thing here from Tim Hayes members chat here. Member for 60 months says hell FanZcene vids. Well, hell to you, Tim Hayes. And you know what? Since you've been a member and since Doug gave us 2 super chats, I'm going to give you guys this.
I know what you're doing when you're watching my movies. Just how many calories do you think that burns?
5,678.
Is that like a TV spot thing or from a movie?
That's from Linnea Quigley's horror workout. And I guarantee you don't know who Linnea Quigley is.
It's possible if she's in something, maybe. I don't know if I'd recognize her.
Is it my turn now? Or
yes, it's your turn.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
I watched something that I, believe it or not, I had never seen before. But it came out on 4K. I think it was last year or the year before.
What?
And it was Holiday Inn. It's got a nice sparkly cover. I don't know if you can see it.
Nice.
It's all glittery.
Nice.
Like glitter. I don't think you can see it. But anyway,
a little bit.
The movie itself. Do you want me to go with the quality or the movie first?
Do the movie. Well, I guess do the quality first for anybody who wants to do the 4K stuff, and then go to the movie.
If you have a Blu-ray of it, I don't know if it's really worth the upgrade.
That's what I was.
Another one of those older black and white movies that I'm not even sure if it's from the negative. I would be hard pressed to even think it was 4K to begin with. It is an old ass movie though, so you got to keep that in mind. And its sound is just standard mono. But no, otherwise, I mean, I guess if you can get it for a decent price, which I think I did, like I think it was like $10 or something like that. It's worth that much. I guess if you like the film, especially. I mean, if you're a fan of the film, more power to you. But from that, I guess you can kind of tell I didn't really care for the movie all that much.
I was gonna say, it doesn't sound like
it was all right. But I'm sitting here going through the whole movie like, why the fuck is Bing Crosby putting up with Fred Astaire? Fred Astaire is an asshole.
I haven't seen this one in a while. I've always seen it with the other one, which I know we'll get to it later. But yeah,
he steals his fucking woman, shows up where he lives, sponges off him, tries to steal his other, like. At some point, you got to say enough's enough, dude. Fuck off, like you little fucking weasel, like. Which is funny because I guess in real life, from what I know, Fred Astaire was not a great guy either, but I've heard really bad things about Bing, so whatever. But
yeah,
anyway,
yeah, where's my belt?
Yeah, exactly. You know exactly what I'm talking about. No, music wise, I thought the music was decent. I kind of like how it's this little stage. I like the idea. I like the concept, but it just, the whole relationship fell flat because I'm sitting here going, as an audience member, I'm going, I would not let this guy back into my life after he does this shit.
Yeah.
Like, he just stole my fiance and all this other shit. I don't give a fuck how much you think you need him for, because they don't even express that like he thinks he needs him, you know, or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's just, even that, I'd be like hard pressed to go, I don't think you need him all that bad, dude. Other people can dance. Like, they just didn't do a good job with the chemistry on making these two believable friends. I didn't care for the movie all that much. I think it was okay. I understand why it's a classic White Christmas, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course there's the Abraham sequence, which they make a big old stink out of on the disc. For those who don't know, it's a blackface minstrel sequence.
Yes.
Which I didn't think was all that bad. I didn't think it, you know.
A blackface minstrel sequence.
Yes.
Yeah. Hold that thought, Brian Barth. Hold that thought.
Hold that thought,
picture
Brian
that
Barth.
Specifically, a blackface minstrel sequence. Okay.
Where was
not menstrual, minstrel. Big difference.
What's the
difference? So, but yeah,
minstrel is kind of like celebrating / making fun of black people, in case you didn't know that. But yeah.
Okay.
Isn't Holiday Inn though, like, it's not really a Christmas movie, it's basically for like each holiday, right? And that what it's all about.
But the main portion of it takes place over Thanksgiving and Christmas once it gets through the initial time jumps. Because for those who don't know, the basic story is Bing Crosby, Fred Astaire are this team who have a dancing crew with this one chick, and the chick is supposed to be marrying Bing Crosby, and they're going to go off, and he's got a dream of having a little cottage out in the woods where he can just kind of retire and kick back. She ends up running off with Fred Astaire the same night that he's leaving him basically fiance list and on his own. So he goes out to this place. It's not quite working out the way he hoped it would. And then I can't remember if Fred Astaire shows up first or he gets the idea to do the show first. One or the other happens. Because so full disclosure, guys, most of these movies I watched 2 weeks ago. We just didn't get to talk about them.
Yeah, because we didn't expect Andre to go 3 hours long. So.
That's fine. I'm not complaining about that. First world problems. I'm just saying. So please forgive me if I don't remember the exact sequence of events. Because this movie did kind of lull in some scenes. It does have some of those old movie kind of problems sometimes where they just, you know, pacing and certain things. But yeah, so like anyway, they get this idea to put the show on, and I think Bing Crosby gets the idea first, because if I remember right, that's the whole thing is he decides, okay, this is the idea, but we're only going to be open as an inn on the holidays. That's why it's called Holiday Inn, Rook, obviously. But assuming you hadn't seen it, because I know you said you had.
I think we have. I think I have the movie somewhere. My mom has had a lot of Christmas movies and stuff.
Well, if you have, I apologize. I didn't mean to assume you hadn't, but
no, you're good. I don't think I've actually watched the whole thing.
So yeah, the gimmick is, as Greg was saying, each holiday they're open, and the show is just a collection of songs celebrating all the holidays. And so they're only open so many times a year, and then Fred Astaire gets involved, and there's this other chick that gets involved, and then the old chick comes back. So it's a whole fucking back and forth thing about a movie, and it's just fucking dumb. By the end of the movie, I really just didn't care. I really didn't. I'm kind of like, and I'm sorry. I really do feel bad for people who are huge fans. I know some people who are huge fans of this movie, and I
think once we get to the other one, I think it's the other one that made a better splash, but we'll get to that later.
But yeah, no, for the fact that this has I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. I don't know how my Bing was there, but anyway.
Not too bad. I liked it. All right. Well, it's nice to know that the movie doesn't hold up. But then the 4K.
It's not so much that it didn't hold up, it's just the character arc. I mean, as a movie from the time period, I will give it all the credit in the world for being slightly ahead of its time, and I can see why it was popular at the time.
Oh yeah. Smooth. But yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I do remember. I don't do remember I don't quite like this one as much. You know, I've never really thought of it as like something I would watch at Christmas time. I was just like, yeah, it is. It's what it is. So
let's just say it might look snowy in a few years because it'll collect so much dust on my shelf.
What is this? A Holiday Inn? Where did I buy that?
Oh, look, it's decorated with snow. No, it's dust. it's dust.
I'm dreaming.
It stinks.
It stinks. Oh, I missed that show. I was going to buy that on DVD.
Fred Astaire, more like Fred stares at your girlfriend.
Well, I guess if that's that, it will go into me. Unless you got anything else you want to say?
No, that's pretty much it.
And I know Rook has no words on it, and it's been a while for myself, but yeah, I get where you're coming from. Now, my first pick, I don't remember if I brought this set on here before. If I have, I apologize. I honestly don't remember. I'm old. But I watched Lethal Weapon. I always forget my camera's right here. Yeah, I've Lethal Weapon 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So I don't. If I brought this on, I apologize.
You're missing the bonus disc.
I know I don't have the bonus disc because I have this set and they're stacked on top of each other, and I hate that.
Oh,
I hate that.
I imported it just so I could get the bonus disc because I missed out on the. Well, I didn't miss out. I just wasn't going to pay the U.S. prices. It's the same fucking set for like a half the price. I'm like, oh yeah, the only thing I got to put up with is the stupid sticker, the little 15 stickers, mature, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Lethal Weapon is fucking awesome.
I love the Lethal Weapon movies. I watched it. I know we talked Die Hard earlier, and I'm going to tell you guys something. I know there's a debate on this one as well, but I'm going to have to say Lethal Weapon is not a Christmas movie. I'm sorry.
There is like a
Christmas
tree
is
lot
in the background.
It is set. A lot.
Yeah. Well, that's like we talked to Andre last week. Shane Black's. He sets a lot of his movies at Christmas time, but Christmas is never the theme of the movie, if you know what I mean. So, but it is something I tend to watch around this time of year because of the Christmas aspect in the background. But I do not believe it is a Christmas movie. But like Tom has said before, and if any of you out there believe it is a Christmas movie, that's fine. I can't really argue with that because there is some of that within it. So. But nobody's going to ever change my mind about Die Hard. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I'm sorry, plain and simple.
Well, and there's the test that I give it. I think I brought it up before, and that is the Christmas test. And that is, if it has Christmas in it and you take Christmas out of the story, does it change the story? In Lethal Weapon's case, not really.
Mm-hmm. They can do a drug bust anywhere, pretty much. This is fine. Lethal Weapon is one of my favorite ones that would be on TV, man.
But yeah.
Let me blow you up real quick so you can show yours off.
15. That was right, yeah. That's the only difference otherwise.
What version, so what pack of Lethal Weapon do you guys recommend or whatever? I don't know how many there are with it.
This one just has the bonus features in it. That's the only difference.
So mine has all 4 and the bonus features?
I think there's no features whatsoever on the discs, if I remember right, outside of commentaries. If those are even on there, because if I remember right, the commentaries were made for these here. So have you ever seen these? This is just the standard theatrical.
Yeah, the ones.
The director's cut of 3, 2, and 1, which have never been released in high definition.
Nope.
And they look like dog shit.
Well, is this one you have, the collector's one, Tom?
Which one?
Well, I said the one that has the bonus features.
That'd be this one I imported here.
Yeah. Mine's
what type is that? Like what type is that? Just a. So his is like his is like a 4-pack.
Yeah, this
is all 4 of them. That's all 4 of them too. It's just
I don't know if you can get this in the US anymore unless you find it like a used shop. Okay. I don't know, because I think the only way you can find it is the way Greg has it.
Yeah, I think I have the same thing FanZcene does as well, but I didn't know. I didn't know they had special features. Lethal Weapon was one of those ones that I would repeatedly watch whenever surfing channels. I will plant it on a Lethal Weapon movie.
I love the Lethal Weapon movies.
Lethal Weapon 4 was probably played the most, and I really like it. I don't know if it's one of those ones where people are like, "Oh, the fourth one, it's why'd they even?" I loved it. 3 is the most forgettable to me, but I still liked it from what I remember.
I like them in the order 1, 3, 4, 2.
But it's been a while since I've seen them all.
Fuck, because I know everybody loves part 2. I love part 2 as well up until the third act. I feel like they kill his girlfriend for no good fucking reason, other than
I'll give you that much.
Go Mad Mel. To me, that takes that part of that movie and really kind of ruins it for me. Otherwise, I love the rest of the movie. The rest of the movie's great.
There's so many small details with the characters that are hilarious. In the first one, I love it when the house blows up. I forget what exactly. It looks like it's like Murtaugh. Griggs is Mel Gibson character, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So Murtaugh is like trying to pat his back, which is like, I assume, in case he's on fire, is like right after the explosion. He's like, "Get off me! What are you? What are you a fag?"
Watch your mouth.
It's such a quickie. I don't want to say it because you're channeling stuff with it. I don't know if that's
just the way they talked back in the day.
But it was just funny because he's like, "Oh, I'm trying to make sure you're not on fire. Get off me, gay wad!" Basically, it's just funny coming from Mel Gibson, and it's knowing more about him is kind of funny scene.
I love these movies. This is the first one. I know there's people in the chat saying that Lethal Weapon is Christmas. Like I said, I will not argue with you. If you think Lethal Weapon is a Christmas movie, it is a Christmas movie. If you think Cobra is a Christmas movie, it is a Christmas movie. I think Batman Returns and Die Hard have a little more stake on that, but I think Christmas is just background character in Lethal Weapon and Cobra. So,
and Gremlins is definitely one too. Like, I mean, it's. I agree pretty much with your assessment, and
and
which one's your favorite, or which one's your order of favorites, FanZcene?
I would have to say 1, 2, 3, 4. And I get where Tom's coming from because I do agree with him when they kill her.
I think 3 and 4 got the tone. See, because that's the thing. The
3 definitely picks it up, right?
Because you take part 2, which is funnier than the first movie for the first 2/3, and then you take it to an extremely dark place at the end, just so you can mimic the first movie.
If I remember correctly, who was the one that wrote the second movie? If I remember correctly, they did that on purpose because he was supposed to be dead at the end of the second movie. He was going to die. Yeah, and so they would want to kill it.
Better, it's like duh.
Yeah, so
yeah, but I mean, I like the fourth one especially. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Is Jet Li in that one?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I'm trying to make sure I get the actor right. I love how like these two guys are old as hell. I remember so much of the scenes. There's that the guy in the beginning is like in a tank suit, pretty much, just flamethrowing, walking down the city. That was kind of cool. And then these two senior cops are going to be the ones to try to take him down. And by the time you get to the end of it, I mean, they've been getting their asses thrown around to them throughout the whole movie. And this is the fourth one. So after all their stuff, they're just like, even Mel Gibson is tired, even though he was like like the athletic in shape kind of tough one in the first film.
I know.
And then, but then it's like, but then like at the end when they're fighting him, like I saw that as like they wouldn't have a chance on their own, and they barely beat him together.
Well,
and I thought that was a decent part.
Well, my issue with it is this: it was mimicking the second and third film, where you intro the movie with something completely unrelated to the rest of the movie. Like
I think that could have been tied better. Yes.
Well, it's not even that so much as it just was a little over the top. Because in the second film, you have the car chase. And of course, it's in Murtaugh's wife's car. That's the joke, right? So like every little thing that happens to the car, he's freaking out. In the third film, it's the bomb in the building. And of course, they got to save the cat. That's
of course. Yeah.
Like, so like there's that little joke. See, the fourth film, it's like, okay, you're trying to do that, but you're going way over the top.
I think they did. I think they got worse at connecting. They got worse at connecting threads and making it like substantively connect.
Well, it didn't even have to because that's kind of the joke. But yeah,
after that, the
movie's great. I think that
kind of I think that stuff would have made number 4 better based on what you're saying. Like if the guy in the beginning in the tank suit wasn't random, that would have been better. Well, and that's fine. That's what I'm saying. Like I love them all.
I love them all. Yeah, I love them all.
Number 4 was probably my favorite because I've seen that the most. I think, but I think
what I would have done.
Best,
Okay. What I would have done, and this is just, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
For part 4, the opening, I would have had it been like you're setting it up like it's a big, huge drug bust. But in the end of the day, it ends up being like a box, like a truckload of dildos or something like that. Just some kind of, you know what I mean? Like you gotta so something they can't, and then it's something they also can call back to through the rest of the movie.
Right.
Remember, like when Riggs is all like, "Come on, you guys, grow up! I told you to quit doing this shit."
You're right. You're right. Yeah,
because he's the one doing it. Yeah. So you have dildos all over the office through the rest, because they can't live it down. Just something like that. You know what I mean? It's like them doing it. It's kind of like, I get what you're doing, but the other ones had something a little bit more. And I get where you're coming from with the attachment thing. It's like, yes, you need to have just something there that kind of can carry throughout.
That's kind of what I'm getting at, because like the first one is like Mel Gibson's Griggs, like his character, he's suicidal. They think he is. They all know he's crazy, but he's also like determined to try to hang on to a thread of his life here. And it's like that was a lot of what carried us through that, and then their interactions and how that was going on. And,
now I want that to be the beginning of part 5.
I'm interested to see how Mel Gibson
think it's some huge smuggling ring, and then it turns out they're just smuggling sex toys.
That would fit with the modern day too, which would be kind of funny.
We get them for half price from China.
They've got some deadly emojis over here. Oh, dude,
is Mel Gibson still directing the 5th one? Is he still?
That's the plan, because Donner
they're making a 5th one.
Donner knew he wasn't in very good shape, so he said, "If I don't get this done, I want you to promise to get it done for me." So
Mel Gibson's going to be in this, or no?
Well, yeah, he's going to direct it as well.
Well, because like they made a TV show that had, like, as far as I could tell,
the TV show sucked.
That thing was a disaster from beginning to end. Because the sad part is, I heard it was actually fairly decent, but then egos got in the way. So
big egos.
But anyway, what do you got for us, Greg?
That was
We're on rookie now again.
I just got here. Something about dildos.
Yes, correct.
All right, Rick, what do you got first? But yeah, I love the Lethal Weapon. All 4 of them, they're great movies. If I brought that on before, though, I apologize.
Lethal Weapon's awesome.
Okay.
Too. Yes, this one was another movie that I saw just a GIF of on Twitter. It was Pat Morita. How do you say his name, Tom?
Pat Morita.
Pat Morita.
I'm just gonna call him Miyagi because pretty much he just jumps and drop kicks the dude through the windshield into the car in a collision course. Just seeing the GIF of that, I was like, I gotta see that movie. What is this? And then so
I have not seen that movie since I was a kid, man.
Me neither. I remember liking it though.
Yeah, I'd say it's all right. It fits in. It fits in with the style. I want to say, I don't know what year this is. It's got a young.
I don't know why anybody thought Jay Leno was leading man material.
I was gonna say, I don't really like Leno necessarily.
That's why I've never.
He does okay in the movie though. Like he does okay, but there's just something about it where I'm just like, the way he delivers his stuff, I'm just like, if it was somebody else, maybe. It'd be okay, but they kind of have I have to say this for reference because it's what I've seen first. It has like a Rush Hour kind of premise of like, this Chinese cop comes over here and in America, and he has to team up with an American cop who is a lot more reckless than him, sort of. He's a little more, one's a little more sneaky, another one's a little more wild and crazy with it. There's like, this has to do with vehicles, there's like a prototype turbo engine thing or something that can make cars go crazy, and that's like from, I don't know if it's from Japan or China, from over there. Okay. And it's like somebody got it over here and they're not supposed to. I could have sworn it was like a blaster from Star Wars that shot this guy, that shot a dude, but apparently it is like supposed to be a special gun in the movie, so I'm glad it wasn't like a random the hell. because it made like a blaster noise and then like blasted him. You could see the thing, and then he gets killed, and that's like what initiates their involvement, entanglement in the story, basically. Like I enjoyed it enough. It's an okay film. It's not one I'd really recommend that people check out all the time. But it's okay,
Yeah, the best scene is probably when he does that and kick through.
Yeah, when he does that, because that's so unexpected too. I'm like, what the fuck? He just drop kicks through the window shield. I'm like, okay, I don't think I've ever seen that in any action movie. I have never seen that, and I wouldn't have guessed that this old dude would be the one to do that. So I was like, all right, that still narratively hits pretty good, and they pretty much are at each other's throats the whole movie. When they first interact with each other, they're both sneaking into a place where the crime scene was to get information and whatever. And I do like some of the ways that they interact, because they're two different types of detectives, and Leno is like when he goes in. He's already here.
Like classic movie he's like trope.
Yeah, of course. Like it's one of the that was what Lethal Weapon was too, right? Pretty much two guys that don't get along at all are now stuck together and have to work the case, pretty much. But yeah, I mean, it's an okay movie. Again, not a favorite, but I'm curious what other people think about it.
I remember when I saw it as a kid. I've not seen it since I was a kid. Most like a lot of people in chat, Tom as well. I remember liking the movie, but I do remember liking the movie for Pat Morita because of Karate Kid. I do remember not liking Jay Leno that much. I think most of us are in agreement that Jay Leno was not. That's why he hosted and not became an actor. So
yeah, which makes sense to me. But also for Pat, like they try to have a lot of comedic bits with him that I didn't really think landed either. Like there's a lot of times where they're talking to him and he just doesn't say anything. And then when he does, he's just kind of like, oh, ha, 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 ha. And I'm just kind of like, the comedy's just not hidden. There's not a good enough chemistry, I feel, with the two at all. If I'm comparing it to like Rush Hour, I don't like Chris Tucker, but he's pretty funny with Jackie Chan to me. A lot of their stuff's annoying, but there's enough there where you can kind of see, okay, these guys could, by the end of the movie or whatever, their differences, have them connect. With this one, it doesn't really come through at the end for me either. I'm still like, I don't know. There's not really their bros connected bond with it. So yeah,
that's why it was never a really big hit movie. So
yeah, I don't know if it's everybody's love in the chat with it, but I'm glad I saw it because there's some things in it that are all right. I suppose it made me wonder. Because I used to think this earlier on when I'm learning about film stuff. There's always like intro shots in a lot of movies. The start is like they show the city, like they show just the city while a song plays, and it made me think of like, what does that have to do with anything? But in this, I mean, they do show like they showed Ford and they showed a couple of other like car places, which is part of the plot, so it made sense here. But it's made me think about like city. Airborne shots that I'm like, do they actually matter half the time, or is it just how they just kind of settle you into the movie often because it's what's
establishing into the movie, the world of the movie?
Well, yeah, but I mean, if it doesn't play that much of a role, I don't feel like it really accomplishes that. It's just showing intro credits to a city background, pretty much. It's just not really because there's some that will intro you and show certain things that do somewhat play more of a role into the actual film. And do the intro, it accomplishes more sometimes. So that's just it just made me think about that. Now I'll be trying to pay attention to that more with stuff because I try to learn about the process of filmmaking and stuff. And sometimes I would try to think of things like, oh, I've seen that in the thing, but why is it there? And then some of them I'm like, well, yeah, why do they even know why it's there? Yeah, some stuff.
I did not honestly. I didn't even know that had a physical release. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I just looked on Amazon. It's like, oh, it's there. So cool,
I may have to give that a rewatch one day. But just like you said, Jay Leno doesn't really, do it for me. But I like Mr. Miyagi. So, but that's interesting. I do like that you're getting movies. I find that fun. That you're seeing a GIF of a movie and asking, "What is this?" and then all of a sudden you have it. So I find that funny. I kind of like that. So
I think that is kind of that's kind of like surfing channels, and you just come across a scene playing, and then you're like, "Oh, what is that?" I want to see more of that, and that's what the gifts kind of are, right?
Yeah, and to everybody in the chat, everybody watching, everybody that will watch the replay, if you guys want any suggestions to give to Rook for movies, you go ahead and give them, leave them in the comments and all that, and because Rook will look through them.
Yeah, let me know. See, I bought these two this week because I saw them recommended last week. So, I can't buy everything, but I'll get them eventually.
This is true. All right, let's move on. Tom,
Start
are you ready?
Whoring yourself out more.
Yeah, shake it like you
Good
got
idea.
it.
Good idea. I'll be the
right. That's right.
That's right.
$20 is $20.
Don't matter how you got it.
Don't matter. It's not gay if you get paid. That's what they tell me anyway.
I got news for you.
It's if you like it.
What do you got for us, Tom?
All right. Clearly, I saw White Christmas as well.
There you go.
Dreaming of a White Christmas, which is quasi, not really, but a kind of weird, not really remake of the Holiday Inn movie. The big difference here being that a couple of war buddies after the war visit their old was it captain or whatever,
sergeant or lieutenant,
whatever he was. I can't remember. I think it was sergeant. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, they visit him and they realize that his inn is not doing all that great, so they decide to put on a show for him because they're kind of like performers. Maybe the movie thing came from this one. I don't remember. Yeah, the movie thing came from this one. That's right. So this one's a better movie though overall. Better cast. Danny Kaye is a much better friend and has a lot better.
Kaye.
That's right, Danny fucking Kaye has much better chemistry with Bing, and the ladies, of course, being Rosemary Clooney and Vera Ellen, are great. So, like in that respect, this is a much superior film. Look wise, I think Paramount did a 4K of this. It looks really good for a Blu-ray.
I'm surprised this one didn't get a 4K and Holiday Inn got a 4K.
Well, they're two different companies. That's probably why.
Oh, that's the rights issue.
Because this is Universal and this is Paramount, but this looks like they did a 4K scan of the negative because it looks really good. And they did 5.1 and all that stuff. So, and it's not that old of a Blu-ray. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're just sitting on a 4K master and waiting to put it out. If not, they could look even better when they do. So I'm trying to find the date on this.
I was gonna say, would say anniversary because that's probably when we'll get.
Well, 54. So yeah, next year.
There you go. Yeah, 19.
Yeah, it doesn't have an actual regular date on this, so I'd assume maybe it's 2014.
So now you can answer Brian Bart's question afterwards.
Yeah, definitely. I thought this one was better. Yep, 2014. So yep, probably next year.
10 years. Yeah, we'll probably get to
for a 10-year-old disc. This looks really good.
Nice. I like it. I do remember liking White Christmas very well. Like we talked about Holiday, and I thought was but I do remember White Christmas. You see it during the holidays. It's on TV. You kind of just leave it on there and kind of get into the story. And they do have a better friendship.
A little bit better story,
yeah. The one guy's not an asshole to him like in the Holiday Inn, so it works. And yes, Rosemary Clooney is great in it. So there you go.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like some of these holiday movies I might have seen bits and pieces of that were on TV, maybe, or like if somebody was playing it in the living room or at a family thing, there might have been some of these on, but I don't specifically remember this movie.
The White Christmas it's pretty much a classic. It's one that sort of, I believe that's why that's the one that takes off more than Holiday Inn. Is like that's the one that everybody. Plus, it's got Christmas in the title, so.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, there you go, Brian Bart. I hope that answered your question. Which one is better? And the Christmas movie to watch for the year.
You got Rook.
It's FanZcene's turn.
It's my because we started with Rook.
Geez, I'm going backwards. Ass words.
Okay, so I got this movie. I know the actress of this movie, and her friend sent me a DVD and she signed it. So I doubt you guys have seen this.
Debbie Does Dallas.
Yeah, I wish, but no, it's called Appetites. I tried to get it. She's, if you can see
close
here,
enough.
She signed it right here. Her name's Laura Parkinson. I know her. She signed it here, and then on the back, if I'm trying to get it, she up here. She said she's right here, and then if you can see, I'm like there. She wrote my name, like I'm.
She says Yeehaw and Greg.
Yeah, like she's straddling me. Then XOXO. Yes. So
Greg's got a girlfriend.
She's married.
Jealous.
She's married.
Greg's got a married girlfriend.
Yes, but I know her, Laura Parkinson. She's an actress. This is a low budget cheesy horror movie. You know, I like those. They sent it to me, so thank you to Laura and Rich. Appreciate it, guys. The movie itself is really fucking weird.
Okay.
It's very weird. It's sort of got a little bit of a Twin Peaks vibe to it, if anybody's a Twin Peaks fan. But the plot of the movie is Laura's character and her brother. That's the guy on a motorcycle, is not her brother. But her and her like mentally handicapped brother live back in this country town, and they kill people and eat people. And then this guy called John Doe, he's like a suave stranger, rolls into town, and it turns out he's a murderer. He gets women with tattoos and bangs them and kills them, and they meet. And they have a love story. So it's like a love story between these two psychopaths who kill people. And it ends in a weird way. It's a weird movie. It's not for everybody. But if you like horror, like sort of Twin Peaks-esque type things, titties, so that's what I can say for you. So yeah, that's what's called Appetites. It's a movie. I like it, but I would say that probably I'm the only one on the panel that would. So there you go, have it. But shout out to Laura. She's awesome. She's a good woman. So yeah, I hope her career takes off because she's pretty cool.
What year was this movie released?
This movie was, let me check on the back here. 2015. Hey, speaking of 2014, 2015.
There you go.
I like that. So Twin Peaks. Yeah. Well, Lauren does have a nice set of, but she doesn't really show them. So, but if you're looking for, there's other titties in it. So
nice set of movies. No.
Boobies.
Boobies. Yes.
Yeah, it's like a love story between these two psychopathic people, and it ends in a way that it's kind of weird. And it I say Twin Peaks. I'm not comparing this movie to Twin Peaks because I know Twin Peaks is awesome. I like that show, but I would say it's got that sort of weird vibe to it because it's a weird movie, and Twin Peaks was weird. So, but there you guys have it. That was my second pick. I like I said, I know none of you guys have probably seen it, and it's something I would like. So, and like I said, I know Lauren, and she's awesome. So there you guys go.
Heck yeah, sweet.
Yeah. But no final words for me. There you go. We'll go to you, Rook. But check it out if you guys want to. It's probably on Shudder by now. It's made by what's his name's company put it out, RLJ Entertainment. I can't remember who owns that, but I think what's his name's in on that. What is his name? From Lord of the Rings, Elijah Wood. I think Elijah Wood owns RLJ or is part of it or something. But anyways, what do you got for us, Rook? What's your next pick?
Well, I'm surprised how fast we're moving tonight, considering our huge thing about streaming in the beginning. So we're like already on round 3 now. Holy shit!
I know.
It's insane.
Hey, I feel like we're having good conversations on the movies, but I knew that movie wasn't good because I'm the only one.
No. I got it's just crazy because we sometimes will take forever, and we're like on pick 3 when we're over 2 hours in, and we're not even we're just past an hour and a half. So it's crazy.
Depends on how much I gotta say.
Yeah.
The more I talk, the longer this shit goes.
I'm picking Mr. and Mrs. Smith right here.
I can tell you I've never seen this movie. I'm not a big fan of I'm not a big fan of either one of these. I mean, I'm a big fan of Brad Pitt. I've never been a huge fan of Angelina Jolie acting wise.
That's understandable. It's understandable. What about you, Tom?
I don't think I ever watched the whole thing all the way through.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. Well, I do agree that Angelina Jolie's not the best actress with the stuff. I'm not even a huge specific Pitt. Like, he's fine, but like, I don't like prefer him as an actor with this stuff. But I thought the movie was pretty fun with it. Starts off, I'd say it's kind of a slow go until about halfway through when things start kicking off. I always loved their fight scene in the house when they're, they are assigned to kill each other essentially. They're two spies, and they have ended up being married sort of on accident. They're like both pretending they're civilians and stuff, and then they end up shacking up, actually getting married, and then they discover years later they're both sent out to do a hit on this person, which was a trap to get them to kill each other because both agencies found out that the other one is a spy and whatever, and set up this thing sort of together to get them killed. And they end up having this huge showdown at their house, and then that just turns into them having, as they're about to kill each other, they don't, and they just have a huge old love-making sesh, essentially, as much as they will in this. I mean, they don't actually show much, but they throw each other around and stuff, and then they're like, all right, yeah, we kind of love each other, and then they get attacked by the agencies now. They're like, all right, you guys aren't going to kill each other, we'll try to kill you. And then they are like working together sort of to survive at the end. I think the very final battle that they have in like this store, I think could have been a lot better. It's just there's no sense of danger for them, even though they get hit by bullets a few times. It's one of those things where they don't seem to be that affected by the bullets when they do get hit. But I think they have a good dynamic with it. He's a lot more of the risk taker in terms of the way that he likes to kill people and fight, as to where she's more precise with it and thinks it out a little bit more through it. And I always liked it. And surprise for me with the disc thing, I didn't know there was a second disc because I bought this forever ago. There's apparently a whole special features disc.
No, there was a bonus.
I didn't know, and so there's a whole documentary on it. There's behind the scenes stuff. There's just a whole different things, like the commentary from the director and stuff. So I had no idea. So
now you can watch the remake with Donald Glover.
No, thank you, sir. No. I think I'll be okay. But yeah, I always kind of like this one. Wonder how the chat. I don't know what the chat thinks with that.
Most people in the chat do not like the movie. I'm sorry to tell you that, Rookie. Most people
remake.
Yeah, it's a remake, and
it's, there's an older Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yep, and there's a new one now too with Michael B. Jordan, I think it is.
Donald Glover.
Or no, the other one.
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I've never seen the movie. I like Brad Pitt. I think he's a great
Michael B.
actor.
Jordan would have been a better choice. That's right.
Probably.
Because you got two frumpy looking people in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I'm like, that's kind of goes against the point. They're supposed to be very sexy spies.
Yep.
That's kind of the point.
Yeah, and not so much.
Wrong black guy, Tom, says Doug.
I know. I knew it as soon as I said it. It was like, I always get the two flipped up, the names anyway. But yeah.
Yeah.
But Michael B. Jordan's a dumb name anyway. So.
Yeah, I agree.
We already got one.
But,
I don't need another Michael Jordan.
But no, so like I didn't know that Mr. and Mrs. Smith had an older version as well. I thought this was like a movie from like the 2000s or 90s or something, and it was like, oh, a nice little action movie, neat. And then I hear that they're making another one, which is kind of like, but apparently this is already a remake of another one. So what do you know? I kind of wish that they'd have some type of notification of this is a based on this, or something. Because
sometimes they do. It depends if it's based on a book or a movie, though. It depends.
Yeah.
I guess it's like I keep on making this thing where I'm like, oh, this is an original. No, it isn't. I'm like, fuck with some of these movies, because there's, at least from
go to the IMDb, and if you go to Movie Connections, they'll always tell you if there's any sequels, prequels, or if it's a remake, or there are remakes.
I might do that now more often because and I thought this was like a original. Was the Overboard movie from with Kurt Russell?
No, that one's the original.
That was
the original.
that's
okay. because I like that one, and for all I know, that is not the original, and there's one before that because that's like what the Blob, the Fly, the Thing, all these ones are. There's ones.
I can see where you're coming from though, because Overboard feels like it would be a remake of an older Hollywood movie.
Yeah, the way
like it has that kind of charm to it, but yeah, I see where you're coming from.
But these are ones, I guess, Overboard and like this one. It's like, why do they remake them instead of making like another one with that similar premise? Like that's how I know that Zathura was supposed to be in the same world as Jumanji, but they didn't have that in the movie. So it is like it's similar to Jumanji, similar premise, but a different movie. That I think works better than just the same title of a movie for a remake. You know, like I don't know, that's kind of where I go.
It's unoriginality is all it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't really talk. I've never seen it. Like I said, I've never a huge fan of Angelina and whatever her acting. I do like Brad Pitt. But yeah, that movie just didn't. It wasn't something I wanted to watch. True Lies did it better. Yeah, True Lies did it better.
I have seen True Lies, Doug. Seen True Lies. Yeah, that one was all right. What I remember, the funniest part I remember is when she drops the gun and it for some reason is able to keep on firing and kill a bunch of people and not kill her at the same as it's tumbling down the stairs. Funny sequence just with that. Yeah, that was a good movie. It's been a while. Isn't that one where he rides in with a horse in the hotel and stuff? Or am I thinking of a different Arnold Schwarzenegger?
That's True Lies. That's True Lies.
Yeah, that's True Lies.
Right.
Yeah, pretty fun.
Yeah,
it was a fun one.
But yeah, I can't honestly, I can't speak on that. But I do actually just remembered something. Tom's friend Six sent me a digital code for Five Nights at Freddy's and asked if I would like to give it away on the show tonight. So if there's anybody out in the chat who would like a digital copy of Five Nights at Freddy, I have the code.
Surprised you didn't just send it to me. I haven't seen it yet, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. But
I'm not like all hopped up on it or anything, but
yeah. So I guess we'll figure out how to give it to somebody in the chat here in a minute after we do your pick, Tom. I have to figure out how to give it to somebody. But Rook, any final words before we go to Tom? Or well, it's me and Tom actually.
Nope, I'm good.
All right,
I'm good.
So yeah, after this pick, I'll give away a digital copy of Five Nights at Freddy's from Six. So Tom, do you want to show yours first, or you want me to show mine?
I mean, we both are the same thing, so
yeah. We'll go just.
Yeah, and I think didn't you do a review of this as well?
No, I have not done a review on this one yet. I did Trading Places, but I thought about doing one of these.
Oh, that's what it was. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I have, and you have.
Scrooged.
The immortal Scrooged.
My favorite. I like the slipcover because it's the original post art, but
yeah, but unfortunately, it's like the old art.
Yeah. Well,
I have this old Blu-ray that I stole because I bought it and realized that there's nothing new. It may have been from the new scan and I didn't realize it at the time, but I just kept my old one and took the other one back and kept the cover. But yeah, I have it now too, like you, and there you go.
So much. I love the original post art.
Yeah, it's so much better.
It's so much better. Yes. It looks great.
Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good.
Looks pretty good. And the immortal classic Scrooge. Now more than ever, it is important to remember the true meaning of Christmas.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's not a 4K. I'd like say blows you away. I mean, if you already have the Blu-ray, you're probably fine. Because I don't think there's anything new for special features either. I think they're all the same.
Actually, no. I believe didn't they say they had new special features for this one?
Well, maybe I thought they were all.
What's it say on? You got my Blu-ray don't have special features on the back of it.
You might be right.
If I remember,
I guess I don't know where these special features came from though, because they seem old. Because like all the interviews and everything from everybody, I don't know where these came from then, because they all seem old.
Yeah, I believe they're but it's like because I remember them saying that there's new special features on this. But you're right, they do seem old. But I don't remember seeing some of them on that.
And I don't remember. I don't remember maybe there was special features on a DVD that they didn't carry over. I don't know. So I don't think I ever. Yeah, I think I did have a DVD one, but there's no special features listed on either one of these, so you might be right.
Yeah.
Weird. Unless there was a laser disc. No, because it's not old enough for that. But it's like a mixture of interviews, and you can tell, like, because Richard Donner, who's been gone for like over a year now almost, his stuff is clearly from an older interview, and obviously the Bill Murray stuff is from the time of the show,
the movie, yeah.
And the stuff with Karen Allen's a little older too. So I don't know if they were just sitting on these special features or what, but yeah, okay, I guess they're new.
Yeah, they're new to the 4K, I guess, huh? But I thought it looked pretty good. I thought it was. I think it's a little better than the Blu-ray, but it's it's.
I swear I'd seen, because I watched the one and I'm like, I've seen this before, so I don't know. They're not on the Blu-ray list on the Blu-rays though.
Yeah, as I was saying, it wasn't listed on my Blu-ray that I've had for years here, and I don't remember there being really any special features on the Blu-ray.
Because I remember them talking about all the brothers being in the movie and all that shit, and yeah. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess my biggest disappointment is no deleted scenes.
Yeah, I would like to see some deleted scenes.
Yeah. And I just wonder, because like all the Show West footage and stuff is in standard def. All the special features are in standard def. You'd think if they were recently put together, they'd be in at least HD, but
yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's clearly stuff from an older release or something. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't a US release. Maybe it was outside of the US. Oh, weird. Weird.
Don't bring it. But I love the movie. I think Scrooged is a classic movie. It's one of my favorite adaptations of the Christmas Carol story. I think Bill Murray is perfectly cast as a Scrooge-like person, and I love the ghost. I love the taxi driver guy. I can't think of his name right now, but I love him. And
David Johansen. But yeah, that was the other part, because I remember from the watching the making of 2 where I knew it already, was that Sam Kinison that role was written for.
Yeah. I remember that too. Yeah. Then I love the fairy lady. That
Carol Kane. Yeah.
Carol Kane. Yeah. When the bitch hit me with the toaster. Oh my God, I love that scene. I love it. It's great. Of course, that's one I want to see. I would love to see the night the reindeer died as an actual movie.
Santa that's going out the front door.
You've been a real good boy this year, Lee.
It's Lee Majors, the $6 million man.
I would love to see that as a real movie. That would be hilarious.
You can't show that. That's like the Manson family Christmas special.
Yeah, Bobcat Goldthwait is also in this. She's an understanding woman. I just will have to move it to a studio apartment. I can't do his voice, but I love it. Rook, have you seen Scrooge? I would assume.
Let me tell you about the day I had. My wife left me, and she took our little baby daughter with her.
With her.
Boom.
I think it might be some kind of
Wabbit.
Have not seen Scrooge.
Oh, you gotta see
what?
Scrooge. You've gotta see Scrooge.
You can see their nipples. Charles Dickens would have wanted to see your nipples.
And these guys are really
you can hardly see your nipples. And these guys are really looking. Oh, heads up, clunk. Nurse.
I love that scene. Is it okay to move her? No. No, see, show me where you can see her nipple.
Just make sure her nipples are covered up.
Yeah. Oh, such a good movie.
Can't get the antlers stick to this little guy's head. Tried super glue and everything. To try staples.
You staple his head, I'll have all the whatever.
I'll call the Humane Society. I wouldn't do anything to this little guy.
It's a great movie. That wouldn't surprise me. I don't think I've ever heard this, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, I have.
Yeah,
and this is where I know some stories because I read a book that covered a bunch of this shit.
I was gonna say it's probably true. Yeah,
Bill. This is during the very difficult Bill Murray phase because post Ghostbusters, Bill was afraid he could not live up to the hype again. So he took a hiatus for a while. And after Razor's Edge came out, that really hurt him too, because he did Razor's Edge and that flopped. So he did not do anything for a while after that, because he technically shot Razor's Edge first, then did Ghostbusters, but they came out in reverse order. And so he took a little hiatus, and he did not do another movie until Little Shop of Horrors. And then after Little Shop of Horrors, which was just a cameo, is when he signed up for Scrooged and Ghostbusters 2. And he was a bit difficult on Scrooged. He made Carol Kane cry at one point.
Mm-hmm.
He made Karen Allen cry at one point. In fact, people still think that was one of the reasons why she left the business not too long after that for a while. Richard Donner has said nothing but nice things about Bill Murray, but if you read between the lines on a lot of the things he says, you can tell it was a very difficult shoot. And there was a quote somewhere about, he was a joy to work with, but I'll never work with him again, kind of in so many words.
Yeah.
Because he was very difficult. But, at the same time, they got a lot of magic out of some of the things that Bill would do. There's a lot of improv in the film. In fact, a large portion of the end is Bill just improvising. So, you have that in the film, but it's kind of the same thing with Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
To the point where Harold Ramis and Bill got into a fist fight on the set and didn't talk again until just before Harold died. So, so this was in that period where Bill was really difficult, but this was a hit for him. It wasn't as big a hit as Ghostbusters, but it was a hit for him, and it's a perennial hit. So, just keeps on going. And it's a great film. It's a classic retelling of the Christmas Carol story in a very meta way that is way ahead of its time. And it managed to do all right at the time, but I think it's even bigger now than it probably was when it first came out, actually.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that's got, through the years, once it's got played on Christmas, so many people have kind of come to it and seen that's such a great movie it is. It's got a great cast. It's got Bill Murray, it's got Bobcat Goldthwait, it's got Carol Kane, like we mentioned, and you said her name. Why am I forgetting names all of a sudden?
Karen
Allen. And it's got Audrey. What's her name? Is it Audrey Woodard? Is that what her name?
Yes, I think so.
Yes, her. It's got her.
Or Alfred Woodard.
Yeah, Alfred Woodard. Yes. And then it's got oh my God, his boss. What's his boss? He's an old Western guy. He's in that movie.
Oh, I can't think of his name either. Yeah, it's got a great cast.
It's got a great cast to it. It's a great story.
Speaking of Lethal Weapon, it's got some of the regulars mixed in. The guy who plays the police chief is the producer or whatever, the director of the program in the booth, for instance. Oh, and you forgot John Glover, who's hilarious.
Yes, John Glover says, "Come back, everybody." Frank said he wanted to come. Go ahead, Frank. He's such an asshole. He plays it so good. It is a great movie. Rook, it's essentially the retelling of Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol with Bill Murray.
America's favorite old fart in front of a fireplace.
I shall put that on the list.
Yes, you watch it before Christmas.
Our guys do that. We're gonna get letters.
I love when he's looking at the comment search. Did that? Buddy of mine did that.
Frank? Oh my God! Yes, Frank. She died. You can't buy this sort of publicity.
I want it run every hour
on the hour. Put a warning in front of it. Everybody who has a heart condition must leave the room.
Yeah. It's such a good movie. It's such a good classic Christmas flick. The Ghost of Christmas Future.
If you don't work late, then I can't work late.
Yeah.
I have an appointment. I made it a month ago. I care.
It's like, honey, how many fingers does Mr. Santa Claus here? I have 6. And he just tears it off.
You're
the
right.
wall.
It's trash. I don't want it on the wall.
When his boss comes in, bingo, bango, bongo. He's like, you paid for the women. When he tells him that.
Oh, come on. You paid for the women.
He tells his boss. It's a bone, you lucky dog.
The SS Minnow.
Oh, you took my question. That was going to be my question for the people for Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh shit! Sorry.
I was going to say, what was the boat that took them all to get?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Because it was going to come up eventually. We're talking about the movie.
But yeah, but you got four of the Murray brothers in there, which is great.
Yeah,
four of the Murrays in there.
Yeah.
Brian Doyle playing his dad.
Yeah. I'm only 4. My back hurts. I'm only 4.
All I hear all day is excuses. My back hurts. My feet hurt. I'm only 4.
So fucking mean, dude. That scene is so mean. And his mom, when he says it, he's like, I was touched by what today's market would be. A
very expensive piece of
meat. Yeah.
Niagara Falls, Frankie. And I guess that really got to Bill. That's a great story that's in the making of too, is because Brian doesn't really look anything like his dad, I guess. And I'm not sure 100% if Brian's dad and Bill's dad are the same dad, because Brian goes by Brian Doyle Murray.
Yeah.
You could tell they're brothers, but I wonder if they have a different father, if maybe that's the deal. Because he does have another older brother too that I don't think acts, because there's like 6 or so all together. But but he said Brian, what he did, and he didn't tell Bill he was going to do this. His dad used to smoke, and he would use a Zippo, and he had not really smelled a Zippo since his dad had passed. And so Brian comes in the door behind him, opens up the Zippo, and lights up the cigarette. And he goes, that smell instantly took me back to my dad. And the feelings all just kind of welled up. So I think that's where he was able to. He's like, I just started crying.
Yeah,
because it's like Brian knew exactly what to do.
Yeah, he knew how to get his brother. You can sort of tell in that scene, because it really is like when Bill Murray started, because Bill Murray's a great actor and all, but when that scene, you could tell there was something a little more going on in that scene. So I have not heard that story. So I can buy that. I can buy that.
But he said the smell of that Zippo lighter, because if you smell the Zippo, they have a very distinct smell.
Yep. Yes, they do. Yeah. Yes, they do. Yeah. But it's such a great movie. Such a great movie. Rook, I definitely think you should check it out. Have you ever seen any of the Christmas Carol movies?
Oh yeah, I'm sure I've seen quite a few iterations.
Sure you have.
Yeah. I feel like that's one of the ones that's unavoidable because of how many there are, and will be shown to all ages of some kind with some of these. So yeah.
If not, you've seen a dozen versions of it on TV shows and
exactly
everything else.
I think the Muppets had one too.
Yes, one of the better ones actually.
Yeah.
Which may be coming up sometime next week, because that may be the Christmas show. I think if I remember,
we're getting there. I'm getting some Christmas movies in here. I got 3 down here.
Yeah,
and I've been trying to truck through kind of a preview. I got the remember we brought up the Rankin and Bass 18 specials.
Yeah,
I've gotten through some of them, and there was some I didn't even know existed. I didn't even know there was a sequel to Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah, I knew that.
Well, I kind of knew. I knew there was the Frosty Rudolph team up, and then there was one they made a few years back with John Goodman, or a few years back, it's like 20 years ago now.
Yeah,
Christmas Adventures.
But that one wasn't Rankin and Bass because they didn't exist anymore at the time. But I didn't know there was one called Frosty's Winter Wonderland in between there, where Frosty got a wife.
Yeah.
I remember. These sound a lot more adult.
No, it's just like holy shit, and it's got Jack. I can't remember his last name, but the guy who did the voice of Frosty's back, and they have Shelley Winters doing the voice of Crystal as Snow Wife and all that shit. Like and they even worked the song Winter Wonderland into it. I'm like, well, I can't believe this one didn't live on a little longer. It wasn't too bad. So there's some of them in there that I'd never seen before or haven't seen since I was a little kid. So it'll be interesting to go through all those. There's 18 of them all together.
That's a lot. I haven't seen
now granted some of them are like ones that have already been available for a while, so like Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, stuff like that, Santa Claus is coming to town. Some of these have also been available before, like Cricket on the Hearth, because I have a 7-pack that had I think 6 of the titles that are on here. So like 11 of these are ones that I've never had before, but were available in a DVD pack before this. But yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll get through all those.
Oh, cool. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on those. I always watch the main ones, so it'd be interesting to hear about. I mean, I know some of them, I've seen some of them, but yeah. Go ahead.
Well, the big reason I got this was because there's a specific special I had not seen since I was a kid that they used to play all the time, and it was called "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." I don't. You may even know what it is. It's the ones because they even made fun of it in a South Park episode. It's the one with the mice that live in the house and the clock tower and
I've seen that one.
Yeah. And I hadn't seen it since I was a younger kid, like at least. And I'm like, that's the reason I want to get that specific fucking
for that one.
Yes, and that's the first one I watched as soon as I got it, and it's instantly the nostalgia came back. I knew all the songs, all the words, everything. You know, I hadn't seen it in probably 30 years.
Nice.
At least more, probably actually 33, 4, or at least or more.
Yeah. That's cool. But yeah, I can say the 4K is good. If you got the Blu-ray, that's okay too. Great movie. Definitely watch it. So I do have a question. This is a hard question. So everybody out there in the chat, be ready. And if you get the question right, you will win a digital.
I got a backup if they don't get it.
Okay. Well, I found a really hard one, and it has to pertain to Scrooged. So
might be the same question then.
well, I was going to. It's an actor. I was going to say who played a certain role in the movie. If they can remember the name. Send me your question. Maybe to change it. Put it in the private chat real quick. Let me see.
Go ahead and do yours first. Let's see if anybody gets it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you guys have seen the movie Scrooged, who played the character of Herman? What was the actor's name who played the character of Herman in the movie Scrooged?
No, that's not what I was going to say. So.
Yeah, I figured that's not what you would say. But if you can remember that or Google it or whatever, and the first one to put it in the chat will win the digital copy of Five Nights at Freddy's. So who played the character of Herman in Scrooged?
Brian answered.
Did he?
Oh, that's the right
Brian
answer.
Bart did answer. Yes, Michael J. Pollard. Yes, he was quick. He was quick. So, Brian Bart. See, do you follow me on Twitter or any of the places? If not,
I think he's on Twitter.
Yeah, I think.
If not, I'm pretty sure he follows me. You can send me the code if worse comes to worse, and I'll get it to him if you can't.
I think he follows me too. Let me check real quick, and I'll send it to you, buddy. But while I'm getting ready to do that, Rook, go ahead and show your pick if you have one.
Yeah, before I do my final one, Scott Hughes posted a bunch of recommendations in the chat for me right here. Yeah. I want to see what you guys think that I should check out.
What are they at?
Well, I got it right here. So,
okay.
Cobra. He said Cobra as one. Red and Red 2. I've seen Underworld. I've seen the majority of those movies. I liked at least 2 of them really well, from what I remember anyway. Then From Hell.
Okay.
Recommendation. Yeah. He recommends Red Dawn, which I've seen that. I've seen the original version and the Drake and Josh one. I'd say that because Josh Peck's in that one or something. But yeah, the Red Dawn was good. The original, of course. Dirty Harry.
Yeah, see the Dirty Harry movie.
Yes, on Dirty Harry.
Yes.
Yes, on Dirty Harry. That was a confident yes on that one. Sure.
Yeah, the rest of them,
Dirty Harry.
They're all right, but they're not ones that I would have to be like, you have to see this now.
Right. He recommends Alien and Aliens, which I have seen, and I think I've had you on stream where we like to watch party with those before, Tom, back in the day, going a few years ago now. On those, I like Aliens more than Alien, but both
I think so.
Good.
Yeah,
both are darn good. Tombstone.
Yes, Tombstone. Yes.
Oh, is there just one Tombstone movie, or is there different years?
It's just one.
Okay. Yeah, I have to clarify again because there's a lot
Tombstone
of Tombstone
is one of the manliest movies you'll ever see. It'll put hair on your chest.
Okay.
And your balls will drop. Yes.
Good. All right. Young Guns and Young Guns 2.
Yes.
Hold that thought.
Exactly.
Because I think that has a Mighty Ducks guy in that one.
I love that.
That's another
fucking god.
That's another movie that I think was on TV. I think it was on TV once, and I
thought I was embarrassed before by the Cheech and Chong thing.
It's got the Mighty Ducks guy. It's got that guy.
No. Yes, but no. He's not the Mighty Ducks guy. It's Emilio Estevez, one of the Brat Pack. Jesus Christ, he was a Brat Pack before he was the Mighty Ducks is the end of his career. Jesus Christ.
I never think of the name. When I see his name, I'm like, that doesn't fit what he looks like. So
it is him, but it's not. It's not how we refer to him. God. I would have felt better if you'd been like Martin Sheen's son. Like, then I would have been like, okay.
Who's Martin Sheen? No, just kidding.
Oh, fuck.
He's Charlie Sheen's brother.
Charlie Sheen's brother.
Winning.
Charlie Sheen. No, I know Charlie Sheen.
The better actor.
Yes. Young Guns was one that was on TV that I think I saw a glimpse of Young Guns and wanted to see the movie. So that is one that I definitely will check out. So that was one browsing cable, and I was like, wow. It was like when they're doing. I saw bits and I kept on going back and forth to it from something else. And I liked what I saw, so I will check out that movie.
If you've not seen The Breakfast Club, I would say The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, because at least he'd have been like, oh, the kid from The Breakfast Club. And then I've been like, yes.
Yes.
That's acceptable.
That's on my list.
The Mighty Ducks is like an embarrassment, man. God, dude, I love the movies. I love
it was perfect. It was my age group grew up with.
I know, it shows the age. That's where you just made me feel old. That's why I'm acting the way I did. Let's be real. It's all about that. It's all about that. It's really about me. It's not about you. This is the truth. I admit it. It's the fact that you just made me feel older than shit.
It's all good. It's all good.
Because I saw fucking Mighty Ducks. It came out, 92? So I'd have been like 12. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like I'm already just getting out of the age range for those movies when they came out. Like I barely wanted to see the third one.
Yeah, Mighty Ducks is like 2 years older than me.
Yeah, I didn't like the third Mighty Ducks.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, that one dropped in quality for sure. Still some funny bits in it, but the quality was just way down at that point too. That one felt more like a direct-to-TV movie.
Well, and that was all because Emilio literally did it because they promised him he could direct a movie.
And that was it.
No, he directed a different movie.
Oh, a different movie.
Yeah, he wanted to get out of acting at that time. He's like, he just wasn't his thing. I don't know what the hell he just decided, but he wanted to direct instead. And he used that as leverage to get a project made over at Disney under, I think, Touchstone or whatever it was at the time. I think it's called The War at Home, if I remember right. It starred his dad and something like that. But like, yeah, the whole thing is they like, we want you to be in Mighty Ducks 3. He's like, nope.
Yeah.
Like, what's it going to take?
For like 5 minutes in that movie, pretty much, probably.
And I think they offered him a buttload of money, and he's like, "No, I just want to make my own movie. If you give me my project, I'll basically." It's like an exaggerated cameo.
I guess
is all it is.
Yeah, pretty much. He pretty much just comes in, swoops in, saves the day for their stuff, and then
he's really like, "I know a guy."
Yeah, pretty much. That was the selling point. But
I ain't got time for you little shits no more.
so Scott's next recommendation is Caddyshack.
Yes.
If you haven't seen it already, yeah, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what
one. I think I've seen. I think I've seen some of the movie again. Some other one that
I would think
on at a friend's house, and we're doing.
That's almost one you should vicariously have picked up just through life.
Yeah. Summer Rental.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Spies Like Us.
Yeah.
Hamburger Hill.
Yeah.
Continues here.
Movie, isn't it? I don't think I've even seen it.
Yeah,
I don't think I've even seen that one.
Then he has a part 2 here, smaller list though. Back to School.
That's not a part 2.
When I'm saying part 2 to his list.
Oh, okay.
No. So this is continuing.
Yes, definitely you should see Back to School. Back to School is a classic. Yes. Nice. Rodney Dangerfield, Robert Downey Jr.
I got one for you.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, I got one for you that I really, really enjoy. It's one Summer School. If you've not seen it,
that's a good one.
Yes, Summer School from 1980.
I think you'll like that because of the characters Chainsaw and his buddy in that.
That's me and Tom. That's plain. Okay. That's me and Tom
watching your movie. I see. All right.
1987. Yeah, 1987.
Not bad. The Lost Boys is on here, which I have seen. No, I didn't favor that one. Thought it was okay. I thought it was okay, but I liked you guys. We were mentioning that last week with comparing Monster Squad to Lost Boys.
Oh, Lost Boys wasn't gay enough for you.
I preferred Monster Squad, honestly.
Yeah, I can see why.
It's just hit me a little better. Weird Science.
Weird Science.
Yes. Why?
You should, but you should actually see before you see Real Science. Real Genius is better.
He said Weird Science. I don't know if there's
that's
two different.
Yeah. No, I just fucked up because I meant to say the other, but yeah. No, you got to see Real Genius with Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
Same time period, similar-ish kind of movie. Much better.
Okey-dokey.
Weird Science is good, but Weird Science is just basically a modern remake of Bride of Frankenstein.
Okay.
Or kind of Frankenstein or whatever.
Scott recommends Blade 1 and 2, which I've seen all the Blade movies. Man, honestly, I thought 2 was worse than 3, personally. I rewatched Blade 2, and
how can you? Movie. I don't know if I can agree with that.
Blade 1 was awesome. Blade 1 was awesome. Blade 3 is also horrible. But like,
I was gonna say Blade 3 was unwatchable, but Blade 2
is very bad. But
Blade
I always saw it
awesome. It's really bad CGI.
I don't think it's awesome. Oh, man.
Guillermo del Toro did that one though.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it in a while. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. I don't know if I can agree with you.
Blade 2 was so thin to me. Just in general, it's just like, oh, there's these mutant vampires, and then they go in and they fight, and I was just like, this is just. I don't know, there wasn't anything interesting about that one to me. Blade 3, I thought was more funny. It's one of those ones where they think they're being cool and awesome, and it's just shit. And it's funny. To me, it's funny for that, the way they do that. But that's a hot take here, I assume. But
yeah, because most people do not like Blade 3.
Somebody in the chat, I'm sure you'll make this at some point, a hot take counter or Rook's takes, whatever you want to call that. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I've got quite the list now here that is different than everybody else's on that one for sure. But he has like a few more down here. Death Wish 1, 2, and 3. I've seen the remake. I saw glimpses of the original ones, and I do want to see those. So that is on my list too. I'll check those out at some point. Then he says the Delta Force.
Yeah, with Chuck Norris and those. Yeah, those are right.
All right, Ninja 3.
Yeah, good canon
Domination.
The Domination, yes.
You should see all the Ninja movies.
I think I've seen Ninja 1.
They're great.
There's Enter the Ninja, Return of the Ninja, and then Ninja 3.
Oh, okay. Then maybe I haven't seen it. The one I'm thinking of, there's like a ninja suit that gets stolen or something, and somebody wants to.
Yeah, they're not really all that related, but it's just, there just is. That's what they are.
Okay. Yeah,
you can technically see Ninja 3 without seeing Ninja 1 or 2.
Right. Yeah, and that's the most. That's when they like released the most of. So, but yeah, good night, Brian Barth. Congratulations on winning the Five Nights at Freddy digital copy and for hanging with us.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out, man. Yeah, thank you, Scott, for this.
Sorry. I was gonna say shout out to Six for giving us the code. That's
tight. It's tight. But yeah, thank you, Scott, for the recommendations as well.
There you go.
With those. So yeah, I wrote down 3, 6, 7, or 8 of those down pretty much to check out sooner rather than later. So yeah, thank you. I guess if I'm gonna do my final take for the night. I think I did this as a guest before I was a host, but I want to bring it up again. Dodgeball. Fucking awesome. Love it.
Yeah, I think you brought it before.
Yeah, I think
pretty sure I did. I saw, the original, the normal version, the theatrical, whatever, is better than the slightly extra bits added to it. I feel like the bits that they added in the whatever edition, the directors or something, doesn't really add much to it. It's just like it was kind of better without some of the stuff in there. Classic. I think I've rewatched. I think I've seen this movie so many times. Freaking love it. Constant quotes you can get out of it. Of course, everybody always does. It's bold strategy, Cotton. See how it works out for them. And that dyke can play. It's like watching a bunch of retards trying to hump a doorknob. Constant ones out of here. that are awesome, that are great. I love the concept of the dodgeball thing because I'm like, how is there a sport this like this? They made it seem like a fun sport to watch on TV. And I think, Tom, I think you told me that ESPN8 is actually a thing.
Yeah, but
they have like weird
I think
things.
I think there's professional dodgeball, but I don't know if they've ever actually had it on.
Right, but you said that like ESPN8 or whatever is like a thing, or there's a whole bunch of different.
Yeah,
ESPN
there's like 80.
or something.
There's at least 8 of them. I know that, and they call it the Ocho
Jesus.
or whatever. Yeah,
yeah.
Because I thought it was bullshit too, but somebody's like, "Oh no, it's real."
Yeah, it sounds like something you'd make up for TV, but it's a funny layer if it is like it's real. There's a real thing. I mean, this isn't real, but that station. Okay, sure, why not? Why not? You know, and like one of the clips they show in it is like people whipping each other, like a whip contest. There's like squirrels on skis, and just funny little bits there too. Classic story of underdogs versus the Globo Gym and stuff, which I always thought would be kind of funny. Of Globo Gym Purple Cobras versus Cobra Kai, who would win? And dodgeball and then in fighting, 2 different rounds or something. See what would happen. Be pretty fun. But, yeah, love that movie. I don't think it needs a sequel. It's again another movie that I think is just a good original as it is. You don't need to have another one. Don't need a continuation. Don't need a franchise. Just let it be.
If I remember correctly, I think I heard them. They're planning on doing a sequel. If I remember hearing correctly.
Probably, but I'm just my opinion is that I don't think they need to make another one of it. Just leave it as it is. They might even be good, the sequel, but I don't think it needs a franchise. Just have a movie be one movie,
It's true. Sometimes it's okay to have a one-off.
Because if they make another one and it's successful, they'll make a third one. That'll be shit. If the second one does, they'll start dragging it through the mud like they do these days.
Like they always do.
Just let it be. Let it be. Ben Stiller being the previously fat, found himself being athletic and then gets fat again at the end type of guy. Funny. Fatty make a funny. A lot of classics there. Love it. Love it.
Not bad. All right. Tom, are you ready for your final pick of the night, or do you have more to one?
No, I just got technically they're 2, but they go together, as I said, to hold the thought on Young Guns, because
with the Mighty Duck guy, right?
Yeah, with the Mighty Duck guy. Because I got the Steelbook from Best Buy here. Looks pretty good. Studio Canal did a pretty good job. Honestly, I'd say above the picture, oh my God, the Dolby Atmos sound mix on this is amazing.
Nice.
They have the original 2.0 sound mix, which is decent enough, but I mean, it really cranks it up. And I don't think from what I could tell, they didn't add any special effects or nothing to it, or sound effects to it.
That's cool.
So yeah, it looks really good. I can highly recommend it. I think it's actually pretty affordable. So yeah, well, that's actually the sequel. See, everybody quotes the sequel.
Yeah, they always.
But I also have the original, and I checked it out. Oh my God, night and day, of course, because I mean, this is one of the oldest Blu-rays. In fact, I think this is one of the Blu-rays when I bought. They used to give 5 free Blu-rays away when Blu-rays first came out. If you bought a Blu-ray player or a PS5 or a PS3, I mean, and this was one of them, I think. But I would have bought it anyway. But and of course, I have Young Guns 2 as well. But yeah, so for the first film. And we'll talk about that first. Obviously, Rook, you should see this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's quasi-autobiographical, probably to this time period anyway, closest version to the true story-ish.
Okay. It's as close as you'll get probably for Billy to take biopic.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if there's any other ones past this, but at this time, this is probably the closest to the reality. Really, it's not Billy they change up so much as characters around him. Because just for the whole idea of making it Young Guns, because that was kind of the whole gimmick was, let's put all these younger guys in this Western and kind of emulating what Silverado was kind of done in a way and tell the story of Billy the Kid that way. So a couple of these characters weren't really that young when this stuff happened, but they're now young in the story.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Character who is a professor.
Kiefer's is a great, is a good example of that, and I also believe Charlie Sheen's character was also an older gentleman as well. But other than that, I mean, the story is pretty much what happened. The short version, without getting too deep into it, just kind of kicks off with Billy the Kid running from a merchant because he obviously stole something. And he gets taken in by this guy who's played by Terrence Stamp, who has his own store. Yeah, and cattle. And of course, there's another cattle rancher and store owner who's bigger and badder and doesn't like him being around, so he's been harassing him quite a bit. So basically, this guy's had to kind of beef up his security a little bit, along with the cowhands. So he gets this group of kids together, basically via that, but he's also teaching them how to read and write and all that kind of stuff. Stuff that'll actually help them later on in life.
Mm-hmm.
And he ends up getting killed by a posse of the other guy's men, the main bad guy played by Jack Palance, in front of Billy. And so the group gets upset about it because they won't do anything because of how big the cattle guy is, Jack Palance's character. So they go above, the local government and get themselves made into deputies. But as in reality, as in the movie, Billy kind of took that deputization in the warrants that they had for the rest of the men that killed Terrence Stamp's character as basically death warrants. So yeah, and it's a good movie, great cast, the music's amazing. I can't recommend it enough on both levels, as far as just as a movie itself and as far as a release goes. Not a huge fan of the art per se. I mean, I guess the newspaper bit is a bit better on the outside than this on the inside, and I don't like the other. I don't like the other art either. But in case anybody, what's kind of cool is you do get a set of playing cards with each of the characters.
That's cool.
On them.
I like those.
Yeah, that's kind of. Well, it's not a whole set of playing cards, but yeah, it's like just the main cast. So it's kind of neat. The inside's just a desert background, like the other side. And you get the remastered Blu-ray as well, of course. And there's some new special features. There's a new documentary on here and stuff like that, along with all the older stuff. There is one thing that is not carried over from the old Blu-ray to keep in mind.
Oh.
And that is just a trivia track.
Oh, really? Well, they've done that a couple times with the trivia tracks.
Yeah.
They don't carry them over. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't check the Blu-ray to see if it might be on there, but it's not listed on here, so I'm assuming it probably didn't. Just as a safe precaution. So if you have the old one, you might want to hang on to it just for that if you're that big of a fan.
Yeah.
Now,
go ahead.
Moving on to the second film, which Sony released it, funnily enough, because I think Fox released it originally because it's a Morgan Creek movie, so they're all over the fucking place.
Yeah. That's where we're struggling with.
It was funny is Sony puts this one out because now Sony owns or I don't know if they have a deal or own Morgan Creek now. They got a deal with them, I think, for their older movies. But yeah. Anyway, you were about to say, sorry.
No, I was gonna say that's like the whole deal, like because we heard that we was going to get both of them in 4K, that MVD or whatever was going to do them, and then it just turned out to be one on Lionsgate 4K.
Well,
part one, and then
I got to give Disc Father credit on that one, I guess, because I did reach out to him at that time about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, no, it's only going to be the first one. And he was right. So
that's true. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't mean that the second film hasn't gotten the treatment yet. It just means we're at the mercy of whenever Sony's going to release it. Because they're going to end up giving it out to somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember because here's the funny thing now that you mentioned it, because I was just going to say, now that I'm thinking about it now, I remember, I think like a couple weeks or so after that, I remember hearing something about it. And I think it was like either not Arrow, but I don't think it was going to be Kino either, but it was going to be one of them. I think maybe not even Shout, but I don't know who that leaves, but because it was a Sony, because since Sony owns it, because that's the other thing, like, because, Ace Ventura, for instance, those two movies, even though they were Warner releases originally, Morgan Creek owned them, so the Blu-rays now are released by Sony.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a few titles like, and that's why I reached out to them, because I noticed that, because they did. Sony has that now, so I have no idea, but I think think I heard a rumor that they are going to license that out to somebody. So we might get it pretty soon. And not only that, we're 2 years out from the anniversary of that one. So that might be the case, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
But as far as this release goes, it's a little overpriced for what it is.
Yeah, I just looked that one up.
Because when I was growing up, I didn't like it nearly as much as the first one. But again, this is kind of like The Godfather 3. This is the one that everybody quotes. And everybody remembers the music because it had the Bon Jovi one. This also had a bigger budget. Had, Christian Slater in it as well. So, it's grown on me over the years. It has, because the problem with the second film is a lot of it's kind of predicated on some bullshit.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the stuff that happens in the movie up until the end is factual. Right. So it is a nice counterpiece to the first movie. Because it's basically Billy on the run after the events of the first movie. That shit did happen. But not to give away the ending for Rook, that's predicated completely on if you believe this other story that has been debunked several times.
Yeah, I've never believed that ever. And my dad's like, what? I'm like, Dad, we've watched a bunch of these because my dad loves Billy the Kid. He loves watching all the Western stuff. And I'm like, Dad, we've watched a bunch of these history programs, the A&E program and stuff. It's not real, it's I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. So, but yeah, you're not wrong where it's predicated on, but it has grown on.
But I do like the guy they recast as Pat Garrett in the second film. I mean, if those who don't know who he is from CSI. Yeah. So, but I enjoy the sequel. It's got, I'll make you famous and best $1.80 I ever spent.
Yep. He does have the better lines in that one.
Yes.
He does. I'd be interested.
It's got some of the funnier, more fun moments indeed. Yeah.
I haven't seen the second one in a while, but
the look though, the quality wise, it's not even a good release for Sony. It's clearly an older scan. Sounds okay. It's 5.1. There's a little making of featurette. That's the only bonus on it. I mean, it doesn't look horrible, but it's an older scan. You can tell.
Yeah. I like the Young Guns movies. They're pretty good. I mean, that was like the Mighty Ducks guy. That was
I just have a T-shirt now. The Mighty Ducks.
But we was like when we were kids and that movie came out. It was like these are like the actors you knew from other movies. And he was like, "Oh, this is a pretty cool Western." And it's even a Western. It was not only a Western that you as they got the young kids, but it's a Western that like my dad, who's an old man who loves like John Wayne and Westerns and stuff. He loves Young Guns. So it really, captured that world.
Hi, Bob. Bye, Bob. I can't do his laugh, but that laugh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That laugh makes the character, right?
Right. Exactly. But yeah, like I said, it does a really great job of capturing the youth of the time and the people who actually liked Westerns, like the John Wayne style Westerns and stuff. It did a real good job of bringing them all in, and they're great. The first one's a great movie. It
helped revive Westerns, like you said, and it also introduced the MTV Western, or the next step in the evolution of what Westerns were going to be for at least that period. To me, Tombstone was the next logical place for Westerns to go after that. Right, like how do you compete? How the fuck do you compete with Young Guns? Tombstone, right. That's how.
And then you get Unforgiven, and it's like that's it, we're done.
Well, Unforgiven was I think before that actually, but that was like
I thought it was after.
Yeah, that was kind of the end. No, I think that was 1990, and see that was kind of the end of the classic Western, and which is funny because Young Guns came out like 2 years before that. But Young Guns was, like I said, kind of jumping off of Silverado, which Silverado and Young Guns are kind of introducing this new style. To where Unforgiven comes right at the end of that era and beginning of this other era, so it was like a perfect time for Clint to kind of put a cap on that in a way. So like if he doesn't do another Western, I won't be heartbroken, but I'd love to see him do at least one more Western before he goes. That'd be nice, just to kind of remind us of how good Westerns can be.
Yeah,
but I mean, Unforgiven though is probably the best Western of all time. I mean, I can't argue that. I mean, it's perfect
between
film.
that and Tombstone. Definitely.
Well, Tombstone's fun, but as far as like, I would just, and this is just my personal opinion, I'd invoke Unforgiven just because it captures everything about a Western that makes a Western
more the classic, like
Exactly. And it has a little bit of the newer stuff in it, but at the same time, it just to me, it's just quintessentially captures everything. You know, it has the hero with, you know, the dark past, and then you have the friend, and then you have the sheriff who's actually more of the villain, and just all those tropes of the Western, and you know, his friend gets killed, and you have to avenge his. Just it's great. It's just perfect.
It's a good movie.
The whole thing is just brilliant for me. It's one of those movies I could always watch anytime, like any place. It's just a great.
In 4K, it looks pretty darn good.
It does. It does.
Yeah. So if you guys get that, it looks pretty good. But yeah,
I can recommend Young Guns. Absolutely. So
yes, Young Guns is great.
So yes, Rook, you got to see the Young Guns.
Yes, see the Young Guns.
Yep, it's on my list. Yep.
And Unforgiven and Tombstone.
Yeah, if anything, those are westerns you should watch for sure.
Yes. You ever seen the Billy the Kid movie with Colin Farrell?
I think so. I'm trying to remember it.
Now that's the MTV. What was that called? With
see, because
I gotta look it up now.
Because I don't think there's been too many Billy the Kid movies ever since. And because the one I saw recently was that one where you find out that the old guy is Billy the Kid. Is that the Nicolas Cage one, or is that the other one? I think that's the Nicolas Cage one. Sorry if I fucking spoiled the movie for everybody.
I don't think I've seen that one.
I'm sorry if I just spoiled that for everybody, but yeah, it's pretty fucking obvious throughout the movie. But yeah,
I don't think I've seen one. But American
Outlaws. That's the one you're thinking of. Yes,
I actually kind of like it. I mean,
does he play really Billy the Kid in that?
Yeah, Colin Farrell plays Billy the Kid in that.
Yeah, that was literally just ripping off Young Guns. Then yeah, I remember vaguely. I didn't even know he was playing. I didn't even know that. I just watched the trailer or whatever. I'm like, that's ripping off Young Guns.
It's a true rip off, and it just takes him up to where he gets married to his wife, not married. It's just to where he falls in love. Was that no? That's not Billy the Kid. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say it's no. I was gonna say I watched it. Now you say that. It's the James brothers. That's what it is. Yes,
I'm sorry.
But it was the Young Guns versions of the James brothers. You are correct. Yes,
yes, it's what
I did watch that. Yes. Now you just reminded me of that because I think that yes, and I hated it.
That was my fault. Hated it. I kind of like it because it's so bad. It's one of those it's a bad movie. And
I bet you now I could. Yes, I could probably do that. Yeah, but no, yeah. At the time, I remember being like, "This is just nothing but a Young Guns ripoff."
Yeah. That was my fault. I don't know why I was thinking Billy the Kid, but it's Jesse James.
It's understandable. There was a few interchangeable movies in that era like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you even had Posse a few years after Young Guns, which was basically Black Young Guns.
Oh, so, yeah, with what's his name?
And actually, it might even have been not long after. It might only been like a year or two. That was Mario Van
Peebles. Yeah,
that's probably the best of the ripoffs. But yeah, and I don't even know if you could consider that. I don't know how long he was trying to make that movie. So
I think Posse might have been in the work for a while with him trying to make that. So yeah,
I don't want to take that away from him if true, but yeah. But anyway, Old Henry. That's the one I was thinking of too.
Is that what that movie is about? I've never seen it, but
the one. So it's not the Nicolas Cage one. Then it's the other one. That's the Old Henry one. That's why I didn't think it was that great. Because everybody's like, oh, the twist at the end's so great. It's so great. It's so great. I'm like, I seen the twist from a mile the fucking way. It's fucking obvious.
You're the first one I've heard put it down because I've heard a lot of people talk praise about that.
But it's completely predicated on the same bullshit of Young Guns too, and that's why I didn't like it.
That's yeah.
And it makes even less sense, I think, because of the timing of it all. Because like, I don't know if it's still because that's the whole point of in the beginning of Young Guns 2 by the age point, because Billy wasn't that fucking old. People forget he was never he was I think he made it to 21. I think he was only 18 when he joins the gang. He was 17 or 18, and he was 21 when he died, supposedly.
Yeah,
I shouldn't even have to say that, but yeah, because that's the whole thing. He's dead at 21 for each man he killed, because he went around claiming he killed 21 men. When the actual number they say is probably closer to half that.
I thought it was only like 12. He only ever killed 2 people.
No, because the gang that they killed was at least 6 guys, I think. Yeah. Yeah. And then the whole thing was that he's on the run for that they don't touch on in the beginning of the movie. In reality, what he was on the run for was he killed a man in self-defense. But being a young kid at the time, he didn't think that he thought he was going to go get hung. So he took the fuck off. and that's why he was a wanted man, because if he hadn't taken the fuck off, there was enough witnesses that a lot of people say at that time he would have gotten off with self-defense.
Self-defense.
Because it was he was in a bar, and here's the thing. Oh God, this is a long story, but so he was raised mostly in like a fucked up situation because his dad died in the Civil War. His mom married a much older, somewhat wealthy guy. She opened up like a haberdashery / whorehouse / something of sorts. I can't really quite pin down exactly what it was. Because there's even a rumor that she was a whore for a while too, so I have no idea. But basically, she wasn't the best mother in the world.
Yeah.
And then after his mother died when he was only 14 or 15, his stepdad's like, "Yep, you're on your own." So he took up with some of the rougher kids in town and that's the thing, is that's where the story gets muddy. I think he already knew most of these people before, because his mom, not being a very good mom, probably wasn't paying attention to him. So he had gotten wrapped up already with these gangs. So that's the place where he knew to go. So he was already hanging out with a rough crowd at a very young fucking age. And one night at a bar, a guy got up in his face and pulled out a knife on him, and Billy shot him. Or he pulled a gun. One of the two pulled a knife or a gun, and Billy shot him. And that's the first guy Billy killed. And that's what he was on the run for when he ran into Terrence Stamp's character, who I forget the name of the character. Tunstall? Or is that the name of the other guy? I forget. My brain's my brain's like flying all over the place. Yeah. So like, and those are real people. Those are all real guys. That shit all actually happened. So he ran into these guys. The only difference being Doc was older. Like I said, Charlie Sheen's character was older. The other character that was there, he wasn't so much part of the regulators until after he was killed. So, because that's what happened, was you had a few of the people that worked, but he knew people in town and other things like that. Because that house at the end that they're at is another friend of his that was the guy that helped them get the warrants and deputized. Like, that was the other thing too. So like, all those characters are real people. And almost all that shit actually happened the way it happened in the movie. The big difference is the age of the characters, basically, mostly. Yeah.
It's made him young.
So then after that event happened, they had caused such a stir that the government was like, we got to go get him. So Billy was on the run. Everybody wanted Billy the Kid. He was one of the most notorious, most wanted. I think he had the biggest bounty at that time, kind of thing, because they were trying to make an example out of him for the frontier justice and all the shit that he was pulling. Because he did. Because the first thing he did, and they even depicted a little differently in the movie than what really happened. We don't know what really happened, but they captured the first guys like right away. Soon as they, just like in the movie, as soon as they get deputized, boom, they knew exactly where these one guys were. They went and got them. And on the way to taking them back, just like in the movie, kind of, Charlie Sheen's character just wants to take them in, but Billy's like, fuck that. And that's the way people think it went down, because all they know is that they went away in handcuffs, but the men showed up dead and nobody would talk about what happened. But people think Billy got his way. Yeah. That's all they say. So, because the witnesses on the other end said, yes, there was an argument between the older gentleman and Billy, but the older gentleman won. So the men were taken in cuffs. But by the time they got to town, those men were dead. So somewhere in between,
something happened.
Something happened, and the story goes, Billy got his way somewhere in the valley. The argument ensued, and Billy just finally said, fuck it, and killed him. So through all that whole thing, I think they ended up killing like 6 or 7 men altogether, and Billy got pinned, most of them on him.
Yeah, most of them on him, yeah.
So after that event is where the second movie picks up. And then, of course, from there, we see him on the run constantly, and they bring in Pat Garrett because he's somebody who knew him. And that's where I'm not so sure Pat Garrett is the big fucking... I think people are just trying to repaint Pat Garrett as a good guy when he wasn't. He was a fucking snake in the grass. He went after his friend. And Billy was the best, most loyal. That was one thing that always comes through in history. If you were Billy's friend, he would kill for you.
Yep. And that's where I agree with you with that.
And I don't believe Pat Garrett was his fucking friend at all.
No, he was clearly.
And the story is that, the way it went down to, I think, and then the way Pat took him out was real fucking
like too. Pussified.
Yeah. Because Billy supports, depending on whose story you believe, Billy didn't even have a gun. He didn't even know he was in the room. Sorry if I'm ruining the whole story for Rook. The movies are still worth watching. They're a lot of fun. I mean, the true story is like, one of those things, but that's why this guy was supposedly, he's praised among a lot of the bad guys because a lot of the shit he did had noble shit behind it, right? He was not like a lot of the James boys and all that kind of stuff where a lot of their shit is pretty questionable about how.
Yeah, the more you learn about Jesse James, the more you realize he was not a very good, like Billy the Kid at least had some kind of honor to him. Jesse James wasn't quite as good as we thought he was.
No, but I think Billy is the one who actually deserves a lot of he's the first rock star in America.
Mm-hmm.
And he was at the time. I mean, people loved him.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I can't believe fucking Pat Garrett would do that, right? Like,
right.
If he was such a friend of his, because there was people who barely even met Billy, that he was so charming and likable. And he wasn't a vicious killer. He never killed without a reason. So, and that's the thing is they think maybe at most he killed at best a dozen men, at least maybe 6 or 7. But he likes to say 21. Because they even have that in Young Guns too. He goes, how many is that? Like 20, like 12 now? He's like, I think that's more like 6. We'll call it an even 21.
Yeah.
Or even dozen or whatever it is. Even dozen. Yeah, that's what it is. Even dozen.
Oh, those are good movies. I got to pick up the 4K of that one. Definitely when I get after Christmas, I got to pick up so many I need to pick up. All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to.
That's why I went rushed through the other stuff. I knew I'd be talking about Young Guns for a while.
No, that's cool. No, I love the Young Guns, and I'm glad to hear about the 4K and know that it sounds good and looks good because I'm definitely picking it up. I like that movie. So
it's a favorite of mine.
Yeah, I'll probably wait on the second one for a while and see if we get a 4K on that.
Yeah, or try to catch it on a sale.
Yeah.
Because I would not pay the $20 for it. I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah. I mean, I have Young Guns. I think I still have the DVD. I never got the Blu-ray. I think I still have the DVD of the first movie. But I had the VHS of the second movie.
Yeah, so, it might even be on one of the streaming services anyway, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I'm moving
to mine.
Might
as well wait unless you can get it for like $10.
Yeah, I'll wait. I'll wait on the second one a bit. Just because you never know if we'll get the 4K later on in a couple of years or months or whatever. You never know. All right, for my final pick, this is something a little different. It's not something I bought. The cover's not great. Don't worry. I made this DVD. It's called
Homemade Porn.
No, it's called A Super Christmas.
What in the hell?
What I did was I took a bunch of Superman and Batman Christmas shows, put them together on a DVD. It's got 2 episodes of Lois and Clark. It's got Batman, Twas the Joker episode of Batman the Animated Series, the Justice League Christmas episode, an episode of Smallville that was a Christmas episode. I put them all together and it's become a DVD Christmas thing I watch every year. I did it for fun once. And it kind of just stuck. This is when I stuck, and it still plays. So I made this probably I don't know how many years ago. It's got to be a good 6, 7 maybe years now, if not 10. And this still plays, and which is unusual because these DVDs usually don't play the burnable DVDs don't play very long after a while. So no disc rot or anything, but yeah, there you go. This is a superhero DVD I made. Super Christmas. I call it a super. It's bad cover art. I made it. I just printed something out real quick, and I really shouldn't use that much red. But yeah, it's got the Lois and Clark episode, Season's Greetings, which was written by Dean Cain. I love that episode. It features the Jeffersons, where George Jefferson plays Winslow Shot the Toy Maker, and they create a new toy that makes people go crazy, and Superman is Superman. And then the second one features Howie Mandel and Lois and Clark as Mxyzptlk, who wants to defeat Superman, and he puts him in a groundhog situation on Christmas Day. And then the Smallville one is Lexmas, where Lex gets to see what his life would be like if he didn't go bad, whatever. It's not my favorite of the Smallville ones, but I put it on there. And then, of course, I have the Batman Joker Christmas episode, and then the Justice League Christmas episode, which is what has one of my favorite lines for Superman is when he's sitting at the table with his mom and dad, and the Martian Manhunter's there, and they're like, "We used to have to wrap his gift in lead so he wouldn't peek," and he goes, You mean Santa. I love that line. You mean Santa. I love that Superman.
Of course, dear.
That Cordy, I love it. I love it. That's why one of my Supermans is one of my favorites. But yeah, there you go. I watched that. Something I put together like years ago. I don't make many DVDs much anymore, but I made that 10 years ago.
Well, it's funny because I've been thinking about getting like a server thing set up in my because Andre does it, and some other people you can do like a Plex or can't remember the other name of it, but there's one that you do just for your house, but it's not Plex that he has. But he has it for like all his movies and everything. But like, I was thinking about doing it just for my TV series because that's one of the things, especially around Christmas time and Thanksgiving and other holidays. Sometimes I just want to watch like the Christmas episode of Elf,
right? Yeah,
and like Thanksgiving, I want to watch this episode or whatever. So like, yeah, I was digging through discs. I hate that. That's the only thing I hate about it. I love physical media, except for when it comes to having 3,000 discs stuck together and it's hard to keep track of what's what. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Is mainly TV. So that's what I was thinking about doing for myself, but just all my TV shows.
Right. That was my main thing before too, is the TV show thing. It's
actually, if I'm honest, this one might be it. I'm not sure. I put a lot of Christmas TV shows on one of these.
There you go.
Pop into.
There you go.
I went through a bunch of my TV shows and found all the Christmas episodes, and I pop them in the Blu-ray player or the 4K player, whatever's at their Xbox, whatever, and just boom, and I watch them.
Good idea.
Yeah,
that's cool. You should post a list of that like on your community tab or something, so people can check out those Christmas episodes or something.
Actually, Wiki, I already think I has one put together. It has a separate list between Christmas specials and Christmas episodes, so you can kind of go through, but. No, it's just it's kind of cool to be able to. That's kind of neat. I do similar things, like I said, but I have to dig through all my shit usually because I haven't got it set up.
That's what I like when I had DVDs and stuff. I just made this, and then like after I made this, I was like, I could just put them all on a zip,
flash drive.
Flash drive.
When you have your thousands and thousands of movies, you're like, where's the one?
Well, Andre does it because of space, so he like puts his movies in storage, but all of his discs are ripped lossless to the what the hell does he call it?
To the sea of the holders or something.
Like a RAID drive or something. I can't remember what he calls it. It's not a Plex drive, but it runs the same kind of way. But it's only in your house. You don't share it with other people or anything.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, like with the TV shows, I'm cool with doing. I mean, I wouldn't put my stuff in storage, but I understand why Andre does it. But like with the TV things, I don't mind ripping a couple episodes onto a flash drive, especially like if I want to just watch the Christmas episodes. I don't mind doing that.
But I mean, if you're trying to save space, I can understand that, and you won't lose any quality.
Exactly.
And then you can store them like I think it was Serial at Midnight doing this, and it was driving me nuts.
Oh, with the bag things he does?
Yeah, with the slipcase thing with the DVDs, and he throws away. It's like,
no, I can't do that.
It just makes me want to cringe. But I understand. I do understand, right? That's my big problem right now too, is running out of space. So
I know. I just love my library. I know. I love it. I love the library aspect of, even if I have like 20 TV shows and 400 discs of TV shows and I have to search through them, I love going to the shelf and just looking at them. And sometimes it's fun to go through them that way. So,
I'm getting so desperate for storage. I'm actually thinking about taking about 80% or most of my CDs and packing them in like these bin things. And then I'll just go through them as I need them, because I got them all digitized, and there's only a few that I don't really get to sit down and listen to a lot of music through my home stereo system anyway. So at this point, unless it's a special edition kind of thing or fancy one or one of my multi-channel mixed discs, I'm thinking about just doing that so I can gain more room for movies. Because I'm sure you guys saw this post real quick. I got these finally in the mail from Japan.
Oh, nice. Yes, I saw that post. Yeah. I mean,
now I wish I could be a bit more excited about them, because you guys are going to get an early preview, because I did post on Twitter if I should start doing formal reviews.
Like I do.
Like you do.
You should do them. You should do them.
Maybe I should. I got like 100 some people liking it so far. I'm like, maybe we'll see. That's the thing. I start things, I try things, they don't really take off. So if they don't really take off, I don't stick. I do that shit.
Well, I get that.
So far, though, I've only watched I haven't watched, but I only checked out just and compared, kept flipping between the American release and these releases. They are different scans.
Mm-hmm.
That's fault as far as I can go. Because there's some shots in the first film that are almost indistinguishable between the American and this version. The downside of this version off the bat is that it's only a 2-channel stereo mix for some reason. It doesn't have the 5.1 mix, and it's pitched just a shade too high. Like everything's just a shade too high. Like I can instantly.
They sound like the Chipmunks a little bit.
No, just slightly. I could pick it out, but like any average Joe wouldn't be able to. Mm-hmm. But as somebody who's seen the movie a billion fucking times, like I have, you could instantly tell something's not. It's just a little too high. So that's one issue I don't understand. But otherwise, there are some bits that look better. But my prediction is what they did here, because Golden Harvest released this over there. They own the rights to it over there. Because for those who don't, real quick history on lesson on Ninja Turtles is Golden Harvest picked up the rights originally. And for those who don't know, Golden Harvest is a company that did all the Bruce Lee movies and does a lot of Jackie Chan movies and all that kind of stuff. Now they're known as Fortune Star and shit like that. But so they own the rights overseas. They originally were making the Ninja Turtle movie, and they're like, oh, we're just going to put a bunch of stuntmen in it. We'll just make it. When they realized they needed a little bit more help in that, so they were looking for a little bit more money and a U.S. distributor, and that's when New Line Cinema came into the picture, and that's when things got a little bit better as far as like Jim Henson getting involved and all that kind of stuff. That being said, regardless, so they own the rights over there. That's why they're doing these separate releases. I think these are from their interpositives. And I think the original releases we have here are from Warner Brothers interpositives that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So I think both of those were struck from the negative, but they're two separate ones. Because the first movie, pretty fucking close, but there's some shots on this one that look much better. But the worst shots look just the same as the original release. But otherwise, there's a few bits that just that slight better. So that just means it's probably because it's a new scan and there's a little less, DNR and shit on it that they would have put on the older release. Now, the second one is a completely different story. I'm not even sure if this was an interpositive or what the deal is here, because this one, now these two actually have the 5.1 mixes along with the 2.0 mixes, which the 2.0 mixes are not on the US versions. The only problem is I don't like about the 2.0 mixes. I like that they're on here for preservation reasons because we don't have them anymore.
Right.
They're only the tape and the laser discs. There's a drifting noise with it. I don't understand. It drifts a lot. Like all of a sudden people will be talking and it'll drift out into the stereo channels for just like a flash second. And it does it on like every 30 seconds. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like the center channel, it's the voices are coming out of the center channel. All of a sudden they'll just start coming out of all the other channels. It's like a drift in the audio and then it'll come back. And it does that like every 30 seconds or so. And I don't know if it does it on the second one or not. Or third one, I mean. It does it on the second one though. First one I can't remember or not. I just skipped through that a lot just to kind of look at images and stuff. I'd have to check that again. So there's that issue there. But the color timing on this one is completely different from the American release. Completely different. And I think it's not because of anything other than the film stock that they were using. It may have been struck from the negative. It's an interpositive, but I think it already had some vinegar syndrome going on. Because there's a yellow tint to the whole thing. Even the opening credits that are white have like a yellow hue to them. And throughout the film, as you're watching it, like in the beginning, in the opening part where Kino is talking to the turtles, there's like a green light on one side of them and a blue light in front of them on the US version. On this version, there's like no blue light whatsoever. It's like almost completely washed away. And you can barely see the green light. And there's a very brownish hue to it. So I think that's what happened. But I haven't checked it against as closely like I did the other film yet. So I'm thinking I might have to do like 3 videos on these. My bottom line is they're not worth importing.
Okay.
No.
Well, I think that would be a great series of videos, and I would definitely watch those. And I think you should do this. You should try them out.
I'm interested to see like the resolution of part 2. because what I did is I ripped the first two, the two versions I have of the first film so far, and I've actually done. I don't know if it'll show up on here or not. If you can see the difference, but here, there's a couple shots that I did find where you could tell a difference, and some that are almost indistinguishable. So it's like, I mean, the only other thing I can notice in the American release, since it's older, is like I could tell there's a little bit more artifacting and digital, like, you know, they clearly put some more DNR on the picture, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But all right, here I'll show you. Like right from the opening shot, you can tell there's a bit of a difference. But to the naked eye, like up front, unless you're checking it side by side, it's very minimal.
Very, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
okay,
I
so
think
here
you
go.
Okay.
Here's the US release from Warner Brothers. That's the release from China.
Yeah, you can see a difference
Japan,
there.
I mean. There is. In shots like this, big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Like very dingy. Clearly, they washed out a lot of the grain. But now you go here, you get a nice grain structure.
Yeah, and it's brighter.
And it's a much brighter image. But that might just because of the newer scan, less DNR, noise reduction, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, something like this shot here. See, this is the original here. Or the one from the US, I should say. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
If I can find the other one here. Or is that the one from the new one? See, that's the problem. Is like
trying to figure it out.
Indistinguishable. This is the original one. Okay. My shit's all fucked up here. Here we go. Okay. And here's the new one. You can't even tell.
Yeah, there's no difference.
Barely any difference.
Yeah. Yeah. But the opening, that's amazing. Like the opening scene there with the city is completely different looking, and this is almost exactly the same. Huh.
Like here's another one where you get a little bit more better detail. Let's see, here's the newer one. Then I'll show you the original. There's a few second difference, but I got it as close as I could anyway. Where'd it go? I had it here. Oh, here it is. And then here's the original. So again, a bit darker, a little less grain. This one, a little bit brighter, a little more grain.
Yeah. So
unless you're really going to give that much of a shit, but to me, I can already tell with the pitch problem, I'd trade the pitch, the picture for the pitch problem at that point because it would just drive me nuts.
Yeah, because the little higher pitched voices that can get a little aggravating. I definitely think you should do your video on it, see what happens. I mean, I do Blu-ray 4K reviews, and they're not the most watched on my channel, but I love doing them. My physical media. I
started doing them, but they never got much for views. It was my other videos that kind of got noticed and got me noticed by like Andre and stuff.
That's what gets me noticed. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I went away from them. Because I actually started my whole channel on Blu-ray reviews.
Yeah.
But I put them all private or whatever because they're so old and shitty.
I think you should try it again. I think yours would probably take off better than mine. I mean, you got a better eye than I do. Because like sometimes
I'm pedantic. That's the problem.
Yeah, you got a better eye than I do. Sometimes I like with certain movies, I maybe overpraise them a little bit, but that's me. That's just me, guys. I'm not saying that it's not bad.
I might be too far. See, and that's the thing. I go the little far the other way, and it's kind of the same thing with some other reviewers. But like, I'm a bit pedantic. Like, I love listening to that damn idealistic fool. I think is his name. He does really extensive fucking reviews of shit.
Yeah, you showed me his channel. Yeah,
I've sent you. I would love to get him on here on 4K for you to talk to. He hasn't really answered me back yet on it because I can't really get a hold of him through Twitter or anything. And I've said something to him in his comments before too, but he's not responded. But like, yeah, because he's somebody I definitely would love to hear his take on things because he seems like he really knows his shit.
Yeah,
and he notices everything. He like everything.
He did like that big extensive Mission Impossible thing that you told me about that sucked you in. And it was like, he goes over that really good.
Long.
Oz WWF. Let's know how they compare to the Umbrella releases.
I don't have the Umbrella releases, believe it or not.
Okay.
I've thought about getting them, but they want a little too much for them, and I'm pretty sure they're probably from the same. I would almost bet dollars to donuts that the Umbrella releases are the same exact. In fact, I think I asked somebody, and they told me that they were the same exact scans as the US ones. So, and their new scratch and sniff version was just a re-release of the other version. Again, just with stupid stickers and shit. Oh, that was the one cool thing I guess this did come with.
It did come with the special.
This has in each one of them there's a little original Japanese miniaturized version of the like they would give them out at the movie, like a program. Yeah. So each one has one of those inside. But the first movie also gets this nice case, which I wish all of them had. It'd be nice.
Yeah, because that's a nice little box case. I like that.
Yeah, and then the main disc just kind of matches with the other ones. And yeah, this really sucks is there's no flippable English version, which would be nice. Yeah. And here's the stuff that was on the back of that. You couldn't read it if you wanted to, right? And this also has a very an extravagant version of their program for the original film that I can't read.
It's still cool to have.
Yeah, it is pretty neat though. So you get this version of it, plus this would probably, I suppose you would get like that at probably one of the bigger theaters or premieres, or then they got the smaller version, just like the other one. So you'd get that at probably one of the more smaller theaters, I'd imagine. I don't know. I know they give this kind of stuff out all the time in Japan. So
yeah,
there's a lot of neat pictures in here. Some of the stuff I don't even know if I've seen all these pictures, to be honest with you. Which is funny is this was the first picture I ever saw of this movie right there with Tatsu. I thought that was Shredder because that's the first picture I ever saw. It was on the back. It was on the back of the cereal box because it had like these card things.
I love Shredder's introduction in that movie. It is so badass when he comes walking out. It's just.
Otherwise, the first image I ever saw was this on the back of a comic book, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like nobody told me there's gonna be a Ninja Turtle movie. I've never even seen that image before. The one in the middle there.
Oh, that's cool.
There was another specific image I was looking for to see if it was in here. There's another one I've never seen before. Oh wow. No, it's pretty neat though. I don't know if it's really worth it. Yeah, there's a few of these I'd never seen. Some of these poses I'd never seen. The Raphael one's the only one I'd ever seen before.
I'll tell you this much: it seems more like that is better than the movie, the version that
it's kind of. Yeah. Because then that picture there of Donatello at the top, that was the first picture I saw of one of the turtles.
Mm-hmm.
That was another one of those cards. I kind of like that. We never got that. That would have been a cool teaser poster.
That would have been.
Just the eyes and then the hand, and then you eventually get the other one. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Geeking out a little bit there.
That's fine. No, I love the Ninja Turtles.
I was a little disappointed in how much they ended up costing me and what I ended up getting. There's not shit for special. They don't even have the fucking. I was hoping the commentaries would be on here. This one and the second one, they're not. The only thing is this one has the out of the shells making of that's on all the foreign ones I have, and you can get on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, which actually should be on the second film anyway. I don't know why they put it on the first film all the time. Because it was the making of the second film, not the first one.
I'm waiting for the 4K remaster one day. One day we'll get that 4K for the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to wonder if there's some issue getting in the way or what.
Something.
Because I wouldn't call it an argument, but I was in a discussion with one of my sources once because they were trying to claim that Paramount had all of the Ninja Turtle stuff. I'm like, well, they don't have the New Line movies. That I know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And because Golden Harvest owns them overseas and New Line owns them over here. He's like, oh, no, they own the rights to them. I'm like, I don't think so. Or they probably would have released them with this fucking movie because people have been wanting those re-released forever. And I'm pretty sure New Line owns the rights still because they're the ones who did the Fathom / 4K remaster. Because there is a 4K remaster of the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
but it's just never. It was only during the Fathom events that it's shown. Yeah. So, but anyway, I drug this out to 3 hours. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Hey, we're getting used to it, right?
No, I know.
But yeah, I guess that's where we'll end it on. Got a little extra bonus from Tom from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I did like that Joey mentioned that he'd like to see Nerdrotic on here one day. That would be interesting.
Interesting,
yeah. I would.
I think he's got some physical media.
I'm curious about what he owns. I mean, we've seen his room. I've seen his Doctor Who shelf, but I wonder what other movies he owns. I'm curious. So, but regardless, we have Tom, we have Rook, we have all you in the chat, we have everybody out there watching. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you guys for being here. I hope we gave you a good show. And so, I mean, like we said, we just gave you a little bonus. Tom gave you his Ninja Turtles, and I think you should do your review, Tom. I really do. I would totally watch it, but that's me. I watch Blu-ray 4K reviews all the time. But thank you, Tom. Thank you, Rook. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you to everybody at home watching. I appreciate all you guys. As always, we will see you next week. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
How you doing? Bitches leave.